It's like a pizza crunch without the batter. It's like the wood juice without the water. You never get the knickers off of fucking trans premeditated batter. Premeditated batter.
But how's things with yourself been anyway? It's good to have you back on the
Good,
Pat of Coffee.
Everything's been good, man. Just gearing up for this comedy festival. That's really the big sort of main focus at the moment. Glasgow Comedy Festival, doing the Fringe in Edinburgh, so that's my first full run I'm going to be doing. So it's just yourself. You're just chasing ticket sales and all that sort of stuff. So you've got to kind of be two different things. You be the performer, and you essentially the promoter as well. So you've got to get the sales aspect back in. So it's be good.
See, is it your headline show you're doing at the Fringe?
What do you mean?
Have you put on your own show?
So yes, the Edinburgh Fringe. So basically, what happens is you've got a couple of different options. You can put on a solo show where it's basically you basically doing your own show.
That's what I meant.
With your own theme, but you also get on a mixed bill, typically at like a comedy club or something, you will have a headliner. So that will be like typically a pro comedian will come on and top the bill. And if you're starting out in comedy, even in your first 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you might be doing the middle spot, what they call an open spot. Then you might progress to a paid opener, so you might open the show, and then eventually what you want to do is get in the position of being obviously a headliner. But the Fringe is a chance to kind of express yourself a bit more, I think, where you can put on your own show basically. And typically I think at the Edinburgh Fringe people do shows about anything, you know what I mean? Like it'll be like, I think this one guy did a show about losing his leg climbing up Everest. Somebody else it'll be like insomnia, somebody else, so there's all different sort of different themes and stuff like that. So I'm ready.
So this is your first solo show, I would say, as such?
So I've got the Glasgow Comedy Festival starts basically this week coming. Starts what date we now? Right, I think it starts the 15th of March.
Right.
And it runs for the I think the best part of 2.5 weeks or something like that. So I've got 4 shows in total at the Glasgow Comedy Festival. So I'm doing my first ever solo show called Gardener's World. Right. Because my name's James Gardner, not Jamesy Cottar. Like, that's my TikTok moniker. So it's called Gardener's World. It's not anything about gardening, do you know what I mean? Although there will be a little bit of bush. That was Daniel J. Trub, it's fake news. So it's called Gardener's World. So I'm doing 3 shows of 3 performances of Gardener's World. So I'm doing Tenants, the Basement Tenants Bar on Byers Road, 18th and the 25th of March. They're sold out. And I'm doing the 2nd of April at McCool's. Sunday the 2nd of April at McCool's, 5 PM. Tickets are still available. £7.70, inclusive of your booking fee. Buy now.
That's a fucking bargain, by the way. In these current times, in these current challenging financial times, how did it feel putting on your first solo show? As you say, you were a promoter. Did you feel like an added level of stress? Whereas before, you would have had to have just contacted a promoter and they'd put you in a bill. Whereas now it's your own show, the design's up to you, the full content, it's all centred around you.
It's good. I enjoy it because I enjoy it and I don't enjoy it because it's like anything else. Like you say, I was a DJ for years and I never put on any gigs myself. People used to go out to me, have you got decks? And I'm like, no, because I play in nightclubs. I just walk in and the decks are there. I don't need to worry about anything. So when you're doing comedy, you go and do club gigs, the Stand, Rotunda, Glee, whatever, different nights. So somebody will put on a night, ask you, all you need to do is turn up and be there, right? Whereas, like you say, if you're putting on your own show, the pressure is there because you need to sell tickets and you need to get, and all your mates to go, I'll come and see you. And then what's really funny is when you tell people, so that was the main reason for getting into TikTok for me. I thought if I can create some sort of a following or platform where I can reach people, that's maybe one more person that will come and see me do a comedy show and they might know me a bit better. So that's the kind of approach I've taken. But what's really funny is I go on TikTok live all the time trying to obviously promote, come see me do the show. And what's really funny is people then start going, when are you next doing a show in Rutherglen? You're like, what do you mean Rutherglen? I'm fucking doing a show in the Toon. Because people always want to make excuses. And I've worked in sales for 10 years and I sold double glazing for a long time. And it's really funny because human beings, we don't like commitment. You walk into a shop, somebody says to you, can I help you? No, I'm just looking. You're not. You're there to buy something. You know you're there to buy something. No, I'm just looking, thanks. So we always want to go, I'll do it tomorrow. And that's where you get the cliche of the pushy salesman or salesperson. I need to sign now. But more often than not, if you don't act now, you will put yourself off it. Anything in life, you will put yourself off. You go, I'll go do that tomorrow. And then what happens? It's too late. And you go, I wanted to do that as well. Yeah, well, you had a chance to fucking sign on the dotted line or buy it then. You go back to the shop and it's sold out and you're like, I wanted it now. That's human nature. So being on the promoting side is interesting. You've got to sort of hassle and hustle folk. But it's good. I've sold over 150 tickets for this comedy festival, which I think's pretty good for a sort of newcomer. I've only really got 2 shows that I need to sell tickets for now, so it's been good, but it does add a wee bit of stress because you think, for fuck's sake, what if nobody comes?
Aye. It's all the common thoughts you get. It's just like any kind of thing. Like even your first comedy gig, where you're selling tickets or people's coming to see you. What if I make a cunt? It's all these kind of thoughts. It's just negative thoughts. But when you go up, you absolutely smash it. See. How long is the set compared to your usual sets?
So a solo show, I'll probably be doing about 45 minutes. I've got a brilliant MC guy called Paddy Linton who's fantastic. He hosts a lot of comedy nights in Glasgow. He's going to sort of just be the MC. So he'll just kind of warm up the crowd, do maybe 10, 15 minutes of getting a crack, get people warmed up, tell them, right, don't talk, switch your phone off, all that stuff. And then I'll do about 45 minutes. So it's funny because in comedy, there's a lot of I don't know if it's the same in music. There's a lot of unwritten rules, and the big problem with unwritten rules is fucking nobody knows what they are. They're unwritten. So you get a lot of grief because people are like, it's far too early for you to be doing a solo show. You should be honing your 10-minute set for the first 3, 4, 5 years. And again, largely they're right because there's loads of amazingly talented comedians who've only just started doing their first hour-long show, and they've been going for 5 years. But then there's always somebody that comes along and rips up the rule book and is the exception to the rule, and then they go, yes, but they were really talented. So there's never a right nor a wrong. I don't think with comedy it's quite hard. You've got to do that same 10-minute set for years pretty much, because that's you're road testing it. You want to be doing that to 100 gigs, maybe more, because inside out is bomb proof. You can take it to a stag do, you can take it to a drunken Christmas party. You'll be able to take bits in, add bits out. So it's just kind of so I'm quite confident about doing the duration of the show because I used to be on the shopping channels, right, which meant I used to have to stand and talk on camera for 3.5 hours unscripted every night. And you would just talk shite. So standing talking, I've got no problem with that at all. So I think I'll be fine.
Okay, I'll see if you could take us back because a lot of people they'll know you if they watched you on TikTok last time you came on the podcast and you went really in depth into the state of politics in this country right now. And you do that in a lot of your videos. You break out break down politics in like kind of layman's terms for the average person to understand. But people don't realise that you've got a past. You've actually worked in television for a number of years back in your younger days. Could you tell us about how that experience came about and actually moving down to London and that kind of thing?
Definitely. So basically, I grew up in Summerson.
Right.
Big part of my life is my older brother. My older brother Alexander's got cerebral palsy. So he's got quadriplegic cerebral palsy. He can't walk and he can't talk. He communicates with his eyes, so he looks up for yes and down for no.
Right.
So he's profoundly disabled in the respect that he's in a moulded wheelchair. He's strapped in. He can't sit himself up. So he needs 24-hour care. Alexander understands everything, right? And he talks to you by pointing his eyes. So he looks up for yes and he'll look down for no. And I often say, he'll look at his heart. That's for emotion. To tell you if he's angry, if he's happy. So you've got to work through everything.
Right,
so there's a lot of talking involved when you're talking to Alexander. And you've got to speak on his behalf. So I'll walk into the room and he'll be like, try to tell me something like, what is it, Al? Right, his name's Alexander, Al for short. And he'll be like, heart, but what is it? Are you angry about something? He's angry about something. What are you angry about? And then look at his wrist, that's where your watch his time, right? Is it something that happened in the past? Is it something happened right? Something happened 15 years ago. Fuck me, man. Right, and so you're there for ages, right? And then you'll figure it all out and he's able to tell you loads of things. And he'll look at his hands as well and that'll be tell you to fuck off. He'll swear at you and all that. And if you're arguing with him, we start looking at the wall and he's like, and he's looking at the wall and he's, right? And he's like, he's going to put you up against the wall. That's what he says, you know what I mean?
Right, that's the expression.
So I've always spoke I've always been a big talker, because to communicate with Alexander, you need to kind of throw fucking words at him, and he needs to go yes, no, and you fucking figure it all out.
Right.
And then once you figured out what he's saying, I then re-articulate it back to him in his persona. So I went in to see him at his flat the other day. He's trying to tell him about something. I'm like, what is it? And it was his headrest. He had a new headrest in his wheelchair, because the one before wasn't fucking up too much. She's like, I've got a new headrest. He's like, and then I had to say it all back to him in his voice. I'm like, aye, fuck's sake, James, I'm trying to tell you, I've got a fucking new headrest. Fuck me, man. He's like that, laughing, and he's saying, so growing up was me, my brother, my younger sister. So that was a big sort of part of my life. My mom used to make me take Alexander out. So my pals used to come to the door. James coming out, and she'd be like, right, take Alexander away. She'd bump him down the stairs in the wheelchair, and then like all my mates would volley the fence at St Blaine's Primary School. Me and my brother would get in the long way and all that. So that was a big part of my sort of my childhood. So I had a lot of sort of confidence, because you had to hustle with Alexander in a wheelchair, because we couldn't get access to a lot of places. My mum would be like, right, we'll just go, and you'd kind of need to just commandeer people and like, can you help us lift this wheelchair in? And so I went to university. I was 17. I went to uni. I was doing economics and politics. I hated uni, man.
Really, aye?
Oh, fucking.
What was it you hated about it?
Just being there, man.
Just the full experience itself?
I didn't really go for me. I went because I thought that's what my mum and dad wanted.
So it was merit, wasn't it, for your own kind of personal passion?
No,
I believe it was just to please
others. I went, but I started DJing when I was 17, and I actually got a job at 16 as a glass collector in the beer hall, which is in Gordon Street, and I worked in there. And then because Alexander's he's disabled, Alexander loves music, like fucking, he's mad for music. That's his number one passion in life. So I used to, for the age of 5, I'd get into the bedroom with my brother, and I would play his LPs, his records for him. And like, you know the way you've got a record box, right, and all the vinyls stacked like that, right? My brother could tell you what album was where just by me running my finger along the tops of the record box. Really? And he'd be like, that one there, because he'd know roughly where the records were. So I'd be playing music for him for hours. So we always had music, decks, disco lights, everything, because Alexander just loved all that. My first DJ gig was at Parkview Primary, right? DJing at the P7 school disco, because my brother, who went to a disabled, an adult training centre at the time, it was called we just called it a disabled centre, right, in Summerson. My brother got his carer to phone round all the local primary schools to go, does anyone need a DJ? And I came home and like, yeah, she used to DJ at Parkview tomorrow. So my brother's getting pushed in his wheelchair by his carer, and I had to go down to Asda, get a shopping trolley, and then put my flight case and all that in it, and push that was before the shopping trolleys charged £1, and in Summerson we used these shopping trolleys for everything. We used them for football goals. So you would build 2 up to make posts, and then you would use about another 4 around the back to make nets.
Oh God, really? You want to start charging, man?
That's why they started.
Was it? I thought it was always a thing. I didn't know.
No, there was a guy whose job it was at Asda. His only job was to walk around the scheme and collect shopping trolleys. They'd be doing the Asda path, about fucking 18 of them all stacked up, pushing them. We used to use them for that. We used to play tennis every year when Wimbledon was on, and we used to use 2 trolleys up, turn as the nets in the middle of the street, and you would play. So because Alexander, I was into the music, into the DJing, and then I got a job DJing when I was 17. So when I was at uni, I was DJing 4 nights a week. Right. I was earning, I mean, 20 years ago, 22, I'm 40 now, so I was earning £350 a week cash 22 years ago. Did nothing with the money. I used to buy hundreds of DVDs when DVDs were £20. That was the kind of coin I had. That was
really? I balling out of control.
I used to get taxis home for uni. I'd get a black hat. I'm the richest student on campus, man. I'd pay my mates to stay out. The boy only wore skint guard. I'm like, I'll stay out. I'll pay for it. Foster's? No. He's a Stella. Keep in a ball. I'll get it. So I was doing that. I graduated, and I ended up getting a job at Satanta. Doing the fit bars. Got a job as what's called an assistant producer, right? Which was an amazing job, because you were working on the SPL. I'm a big I'm a Celtic supporter, but I just love Scottish football. I've always been into the football, so it was a brilliant job. First day you walk in, Bob McLean's like, "Hi James," do you know what I mean? Like people I've watched on the telly. Jock Brown was a commentator. I'm like, fuck it, you know. It was a great job, great fun. I was there for 5, maybe 6 years. I got to present a bit of football on Setanta. I presented some of the Dutch games. I was only like 26. I thought, I'm going to be famous, man. I'm going to be on Sky Sports. This is how it happens. Like, you know, you do a couple of games and the next year you do a few men. Before you know it, it'll be me. I'll be presenting this thing. And the channel went bust. And I lost my job. And the boys that are on BT Sport now, like the presenter Daryl Curry or Emma Dodge, I worked with them. They were all my pals.
Did really? Did you work with them?
Aye, Daryl. I sort of helped train Daryl up as an assistant producer. I mean, he was a journalist in his own right. He kind of had done his degree in sports journalism and all that. But yeah, Emma was in my team. She's a presenter at the moment. She's brilliant. So I almost made it, because I went down to London. I screen tested for Sky Sports News, but never.
So how did they get kept on, or did they go and get screen tests as well, and they were just lucky enough to get careers?
It's a very difficult game. I did something that didn't help my cause. When I was at the Christmas night out, I ended up getting outside and getting into a fight with one of the other producers.
Right. How'd that happen?
Well, I asked me outside for a square goal.
Did he? What was it? What caused it? Just mad weight, fucking too much drink?
Just stupid, and I went, aye. Because you think, well, that's the honourable thing to do. Cool, no problem. And when you look back now and you think, well, alright, why do you want to hire that guy where the guy gets in fights? It doesn't matter. I kind of came in the next day thinking, I'll get a round of applause for everyone in the office. But Gardner stepped up and people just go, alright, him. So it's that, I don't know, you can never pinpoint a reason, but I'm sure that will be a contributory factor. So other people get kept on. There might be class issues. Some people went to private schools and I don't know. It would be unfair as well though, and it would be a wee bit of a chip in my shoulder to say, it's everyone else's fault and not mine. You know, my boss at the time, a guy called Colin Davidson, said, look, take Martin and James, the producer Martin Keegan, who produces on BT Sport, a really talented guy. I think they all went over to ESPN. I never got taken on. But I tried a few times to get to London before that, even when Setanta was doing English football, and they just weren't interested. Again, it's like anything else. Some of the people that were in the production team down south, well, a lot of them went to private schools. In the media, there's a lot of nepotism. There are a lot more privately educated people that work in the media. I'm not saying that's because I don't want to just say, see, it's fucking hard luck story. You know, I could have made different choices, but I always remember I was DJing doing it. I used to DJ in the summer. I used to do headphone discos and all that, these silent discos. I remember DJing at Oxford Uni, and I actually really liked DJing at Oxford because they were really nice kids. Like, we used to go on the mic and tell them to hand their headphones back. Guys would come up with like fucking bundles on them. But see, when you were DJing at other unis like fucking High Wycombe, Bucks Uni, Essex and all that, fucking guys just chucking them away and all that. So they were really polite, and they were really, but they were the most confident people I'd ever met in my life. Like, I remember chatting to this girl and she went, asking me what I did, and I said, I worked for Setanta. She said, oh yes, you should talk to my friend Jack. Jack works on TV. Jack. This guy turned around, man. He was like fucking something off a Saved by the Bell, man. He was a beautiful looking guy with blonde hair and all that. He was like, hi fella. You know, a really warm handshake. He had fucking tux and all that on. And I actually used to sort of email him because he worked in the London office. And like that guy, I think he's done really well at Sky Sports and all that sort of stuff. So that's one of the things you get taught, a high level of confidence if you at private school. A really high level of confidence, real self-belief, and I think sometimes you lack that, you know, from maybe a different background. You know, if you're coming from a more working class or a humble background, you're like, you get taught to, listen, you're not deserving of that. Just you know, I lack, although despite being a very confident person, I lack a lot of confidence in certain situations. You know what I mean? So that was the Setanta thing. I was there, let's say 5-6 years or whatever, and then the channel went bust. So I moved down to London because I was desperate to be on television. I'd presented, you know, a few sort of football games on Setanta. I was desperate to do more. people kept saying to me, "Now you need to get a bit more experience on screen," because you know, like, my voice was totally different then. Nobody told you how to speak either. Everyone just went, "Oh, you'll need to change your accent," you know, because Glasgow voice. So you just go a bit more nasally, talk like that. You know, that's the only thing you know how to do. You don't actually know how to sort of open your mouth, because Glaswegians, we don't open our mouth properly.
Don't use our jaws.
Talk like that. Alright, mate, what's happening? And I do a lot about that in my stand-up, you know, because I have to go to voice coaches and all that. You mean, alright, mate, man, you talk like that, I fucking do that. Do you know what I mean? But as people are like, yes, it's yellow, it's wonderful, it's really great, yeah, wow. And I'm like, no, I can't speak. I feel like my jaw's moving all over the place.
You're not the missing, never used a phone in your life.
Aye, so I got a job on the shopping channels. I mean, I moved down to London. I was sleeping on the floor of my uncle's house. He was kind enough to let me stay with him and my three cousins. Like I say, I was sleeping on the floor. And I was just sending out show reels and CVs basically. And I was kind of miserable because I was like, I fucking left my family and my pals in Glasgow to go down to London to do the same thing that I was doing in Glasgow, sending it. But I just felt I had to make the change for something to happen, if that makes sense. Like I could have done everything that I did in London from Glasgow, but I just felt if I'm down there and I'm putting myself out, and then I got an audition, a screen test for the shopping channels, and then that's how I ended up on there. So I was doing Price Drop TV. Can't get your money back now. That's
is that still about that channel? Did they
no,
make a chance?
They went bust as well.
Did
so,
they? Fuck. I hope it wasn't the
want,
products that sent them bust.
If you want a business to fail, get me involved.
The man that shut down Satanta and the shopping channel.
I also used to DJ in a nightclub called The Shack, which burnt down as well.
Fuck's sake, man.
Baby.
Hopefully that's just like you're running a bit shite luck. Everything's going to go well now, know what I mean?
I hope
Fucking hope so, fingers crossed. So see, when you, let me take you back, see you talk about when you worked at Satanta and that kind of thing, and you end up, one of the contributing factors you think may be the fucking knocking fuck at the producer after a Christmas night out. No, I mean, see, do you think coming into that, do you think the reason why you maybe stood out and your attitude at that time was because you grew up in Summerston, so I imagine you had that scheme mentality where like, if somebody offered you a fight, like, the honourable thing is to fight them and that kind of thing. Do you think bringing that in was what made them kind of uncomfortable?
I don't really know. I think for me, the sort of fighting thing actually comes from something else. So I went to a really good school. I went to Jordan Hill School.
Oh, really?
Even though I lived in Summerston, because it's a catchment area school. So you've got, I mean, just still now I was talking to them, how did you manage that? And I was like, listen, my mum managed it, right? Don't ask any questions about that. It's a really good school, but I really didn't enjoy it because I used to have to get 3 buses to school and 3 buses home, and I didn't really fit in because you're not from that area. And it's like anything else, you hang about with your pals after school. Well, I hung about with my pals that went to John Paul Academy. But my mum wanted me to go. I think because of Alexander, there was a lot of pressure. I think they wanted everything to be as perfect as it could for me. You know what I mean? Oh, he's going to go to a good school and all that. And so I don't know. The fighting thing, I used to fight all the time. But I think a lot of that comes from, I think a couple of things. I mean, I got battered hundreds of times in Summerston, so it wasn't like I was a hard man or anything like that. But you get brought up with that sort of working class back. My dad, I remember getting battered once in Summerston by a boy. Right, I mean, battered me, punched my head off, right, and my nose was busting all that, and fucking we walked back to the house and all that. My dad sees me. It's time to you. I saw being beat up. He says, "Who did it?" I told the boy's name, and he went, "What did you not hit him back for?" And I didn't want to say, because I was shit scared of him, man. He fucking didn't have a chance to fucking punch him back under the rain of blows, right? So instead I was like, because my mum says I've not hit MD. My mum never said that. Right? So I remember my dad grabbed a towel, threw the towel at me, and went, "Right, come with me." And I thought, he's got to take me to the hospital at least. Took me back over, right, to the fence, and the boy Stuart was over, and he went, "Oh, my pals, we were playing football." He went, "You fucking batter him?" He went, "Aye." He went, "Hey, we'll get fucking air here the now, and he'll take you a square go." And he just went like that, "All right." And my pals reminded me the other day, they went, "Mate, your face just for..." I'm going to have to get a fucking doon in front of my dad.
Back for round 2.
So, but I mean, so yeah, you had to kind of stand up for yourself. The thing about the Christmas night out thing, with Alexander, with any having a disabled brother or sister, I don't know for anyone else, you harbour a big sense of injustice because you realise that the world is unfair. You've got more of a reminder every day. This is something I've only realised maybe in the last 6 to 12 months, to be honest. That anger's got to go somewhere. You're angry about your position in life. Like, my dad worked in the shipyards. Throughout my childhood, he was, he was made redundant a fair few times because, it's not a very stable industry. He was kept out of job because he stood up for workers in the yard. You know what I mean? And then that was him blacklisted. It's just stuff like that. Alexander was medical negligence. The umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck. He was asphyxiated. There was no consultant on site, so only the consultants can authorise a caesarean. You can only get a caesarean until when it's an emergency caesarean. By that point, he's lost. So you've got all that swimming about. Then you've got just how life is kind of unfair because obviously, things are just much harder with disability, normal things. So you're never going to be angry at my brother. I'm never angry at Alexander, but I think that anger's fucking got to go somewhere.
Aye.
And, so I kind of, so I realised when I look back and I had a fucking lot of anger in me. And that, and then people, it's got to go somewhere, isn't it? So people turn to drink or drugs or violence and it's not excusing anyone's behaviour. I'm not trying to excuse my own, but it's just you understand yourself a bit more. So for me, when I worked in there at Satanta, I say I was well brought up, but did I stand out? Did I maybe not? I think I was too honest as well. Is one thing I'd like, it's my fault. Oh, no, that was me. I should do better. Whereas I worked next to a guy who just fucking used to ask for more money all the time. He just had a belief that he deserved more. Whereas I'd be like, oh no, I don't need any more. I'm fine. I'll just, you can kind of learn martyrdom a wee bit more, and I think that's people can quite often be a victim of their own class as a result of that, because you don't have that confidence. So I don't know what stopped me from progressing there. I don't think that helped anyway, getting out for a square goal with someone. But like I say, you're brought up with a set of values, or you think that's what's going to, you think that's the honourable thing to do. Somebody asks you outside for a fight, you go. You don't back down. But in hindsight, I just went, you're all right, mate. And sat down. But that's you playing to the Glasgow gallery, a part of your ego. You think, actually, when you look back, you just think, why did you not just fucking sit down? And just go, no, you're all right, mate. Cheers. But those are the moments that I suppose define what happens in your life. And when I say I don't regret it, I wish I didn't do it. But there's no point festering onto the past. It's very hard for me sometimes when I watch the football, the BT Sport or the Viaplay and all that. I'm like, oh, fucking could have been me. I still get those feelings, like the commentator Rory. I used to pick him up in the mornings. Friend of mine. They're all good people, but I'm sure there'll be a 100 guys and 100 women and 100 pubs going like that. That could have been me.
Aye.
So that's me. Could have been me.
Could have been Jamesy. See, when you talk about that sense of injustice, you felt like it was kind of installed in you through what your brother went through and the kind of experiences he had of the world. See, do you think, that situation, maybe like what you took for that, maybe, or this happened because one of the reasons I might not be kept on was because of this incident that may have happened, or whatever reason it may have been, did that do anything to fuel that injustice at the time?
I don't. At the time, no, because I think at that point, like I say, I went down to London. It was brilliant. I moved away. It was the first time I'd ever done anything for myself, really. In that regard, I mean, I say that like I didn't leave till I was Glasgow. I was 26. For the most part, I'd always lived at home. I used to help put my brother to bed. I would get him up in the morning to help my parents out. I'd get up through the night with him because there'd be nights he'd begin to spasm or he'd be unwell, and I mean from childhood I'd be doing that because I'd want my mum and dad to get a rest, and I'd say in the morning, oh, Alexander didn't sleep last night, and they'd be like, why didn't you come and get us? And I'd be like, oh, So when I moved to London, I remember at one point lying on my sofa in the flat I was staying in, and I was just like, I've got no guilt because I've got nowhere to be. Whereas when I was, we always had to help out with my brother because we didn't have sufficient care for him. I used to take my days off for work so that I could sit at home with Alexander. My sister would miss days at school. I would miss days at uni. That's people you know, that's life for people with, you know, with a family member that's disabled with a serious disability. So when I was in London, I didn't really have any the only time I had a wee sense of injustice was I was in London for a couple of years. I did the shopping channels. I went out to the Philippines to play football.
Right.
Despite being a very, very average footballer, I managed to sign for a team and played professional football in the Philippines.
In the Philippines? How the fuck that come about?
That's another. So I'll get to that in a bit.
I get to that. I'm curious.
But I mean, I didn't last long. I was there for sort of like 4 months.
Long enough to get a suntan?
Listen, long enough. I came on. I think I came on in 7 games. Old substitute gather, 5 subs up like that.
What happened to that team to go defunct or not?
I think they are now, actually.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
But and I came back and I was desperate. I'd always wanted to work back in sport, and that was when was it BT Sport was starting, and I remember a couple of things. I remember it was an assistant producer's job, so I'd been a producer. I was wanting to take a right backward step, but I was like, I'll be back. I'll be working in football. I fucking love the job. I know what I'm doing. One of the boys went, listen, you know, the director Grant said, you know, he said, listen, James will be brilliant for this. He'll help the younger assistant producers on. They were doing interviews and they FaceTime and they went, listen, you don't need to come up for an interview. I knew these guys, my mate Martin and a guy called Grant Phillips, who was the exec producer, and had a brilliant, you know, FaceTime, and they were just like, listen, are you going to be annoyed that you're not presenting and you're not reporting? I was like, no, listen, I just want to be back into it, blah, blah, blah. And I've been unemployed in London by this point for a couple of months, and I remember just getting a phone call one day. I was in Soho. I remember badgering him, and it just went, nah, I've gone with somebody else, and that was it. It was like talking to a different person. And I got told by a friend of mine who knew somebody at Scottish Television, he went, James is not getting that job. I can tell you that.
Really, aye?
So if you stop to fester on it, you kind of think it's a wee bit unfair, but life's unfair.
Aye, you're
and
right.
the guy who's the head of BT Sport, I remember emailing him and emailing me back. He's like, yes, James, how you doing? Blah blah blah. Nah, we've not got any vacancies. We're busy taking on all the ESPN staff, but thanks, but no thanks, mate. When you stop to think about it, it's like a scab in it, an emotional scab, and you think, actually unfair, it's discrimination. That's life. And that's
what it is.
you need to remind yourself sometimes that life's unfair, but equally, you know, like I say, I made choices that maybe contributed to that too. So you've just got to get over it. So listen, I'm hoping I get back here with the comedy and I'll get fucking back on the sofa at the end. I'll be like, I'm fucking here.
You're here on your own 2 feet, know what I mean? But hopefully, you definitely, man, as you say, you've got all the experience, man. There should be a future in it for you. See, when you went back, so you were back down in London, as you see, you just had the knock back then, so you eventually led into doing the shopping channel.
So I've been doing the shopping channels at that point.
So was that point you've been doing the shopping channel?
Channels, went to the Philippines, came back, couldn't get back onto the shopping channels. They didn't want me back on. And what happens is, again, you can be disruptive. I think I was probably quite disruptive with my honesty. You can be disruptive in a number of ways, but see if you're too busy speaking your mind, people just go,
basically kind of pointing out like what's going wrong kind of thing, or what they could do better, things like that.
What I think could have been too much to say for myself is the best way. I remember I was in Soho at the time. I think I was greeting. I was like, I had to move back in with my parents when I was 30. Leave my girlfriend at the time and all that. Moved back home. I was like, fucking hell, I'd been living a high life a couple of years before, running about London. I'm on the telly. I mean, I know it was Freeview Channel 23 and all that, but you were on the telly.
Of course.
You're getting well paid, and then all of a sudden you're back to your man Daz again at 30. So it's just the way that it goes.
So what was your experience working on the shopping channel when you started it, and what kind of things went on when you were there? Was it a big, massive change from what you'd done before in terms of the presenting? As you say, that's where you kind of learned to think on your feet. You had 3-hour long shows, you had to think of shit to say.
It was good fun. It was hard. It was everybody wants to. It was very, very competitive, dead competitive. You know, like you everybody would fight. It's like everybody wanted the best products. Everybody wanted the best time slots. Everybody wanted what they thought was going to make them the most glamorous. Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of people that were on the shopping channels all had aspirations of going higher up. You know what I mean? So a lot of people were like thinking this was a TV job with a bit of sales, whereas I kind of quickly realised this is a sales job on the telly.
Right.
So it was good fun. You know what I mean? It was hard work because basically you would be looking at all the products before you went on, figuring out how can we sell them. You'd need to do a lot of research because the people that are not enjoyable to watch on the shopping channels are the ones that just repeat the same stuff. You go, oh, it's dead nice. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's sparkly. You can wear that. Whereas the ones that have got a bit of detail, they're like, listen, actually, the way that this chain's actually finished is they've got more detail. So you would be doing a lot of work. The best thing about the shopping channels was you were having to talk unscripted. You'd have an earpiece in. There'd be a lot going on. You'd be dropping prices, you'd be trying to figure out what price you'd be selling this at, how, because you'd come off your shift and there would be a score next to it. It'd be like you had 14 grand worth of product in your shift, you finished at 86%, you did 11.5 grand, so you'd come off on a percentage, you'd have a leaderboard of who was the best of the day.
Right.
So it was quite high pressure, and you'd somebody say like, you've got 30 grand in your shift, oh amazing, and you'd look at your schedule and you'd be like, 500 light up Santa Claus mugs, £8. Somebody would go, yeah, we had them last night, we couldn't sell them at £1, mate, you'll fucking bomb. So all of a sudden you had 3 grand of revenue in that one product. You're like, we'll not make that. So you would then try and oversell a different product. So there was a lot of kind of maths involved, and again, you can't sell something if it's not worth anything. So you'd need to look at something and figure out, what's the way to sell this, is this any good? And you'd try and find value in stuff that people hadn't found value in before. So you would maybe do a demonstration with it, you'd maybe sell it a different way. So you were constantly doing stuff like that. So it was hard work, man.
I see. Did they give you any training as such to do a job like that, or were you just kind of flung in to think on your feet, just think first and ask questions later?
They did a couple of weeks of training, which I thought was very good, to be honest. And it was really about the fundamentals of selling, really, and stuff like that. And kind of, they hired people. Most people that they hired had all maybe been on TV, or they'd done little stuff for local radio, or they'd been one guy was a DJ out in Spain and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, used to do the old welcome.
Aye.
Scream if you want to go faster.
Put your hands into the side, will you make time?
Yeah, exactly. So people have been entertainers on cruise ships, all that sort of stuff. So
personalities.
Yeah, so it was really good fun. I really enjoyed it for the most part. But again, I fucking just had too much to say for myself, because I'd be like, why the fuck are we buying these? Why are you buying these for this price? It turns out all the buying team were on they were scamming. So they were doing deals with suppliers saying, right, we'll sell you these at 15 quid a time, but they're actually, it's only £5 a time, and we'll split the tenner difference between us.
Really, aye?
And now I realise that is why a lot of people wanted me out the door, because I was fucking so oblivious to it, because everything was left to the presenters to sell. The presenters and producers worked really hard on the shopping channels. All the buying team would go to these trade shows, buy a load of shite, give it to us to sell. We'd be like, I keep saying this example, but we used to sell Slazenger trackies on Price Drop TV. Slazenger trackies, right? And we used to sell them for fucking full tracksuits for, they wanted $24.99. I remember this to the day, $24.99. So the wee lassie comes over to see me. She's like, hi James, I'm Tamira from the buying team. You've got the Slazenger tracksuits today. Now, so we want $24.99. And I'd be like, sorry, you want $34.99? She's like, no, $24.99. I was like, wait a minute. It's $1.99 for the phone call and $6.99 for the postage and packaging. So it's an extra tenner on the price. Yes, but I mean, listen, they're no stupid. They know that, right? So, right, well, and she's like, well, yeah, well, anyway. And I was like, listen, we're not going to get that price for them. We're not going to get that. She's like, oh, you're being very negative. I was like, listen, do you know how I know we're not going to get that price? I said, well, with the hunter, I mean, we'll sell 40 and we'll sell them at 12 quid. Because you knew what the biting, because people aren't stupid. And she's like, oh, you're being very negative. And I went, do you know how I know we'll sell them at that price? I mean, because I've got a Slazenger trackie. Know where I got mine for? Sports Direct. And I paid a tenner for it. Why would anyone pay 3 times the price? And I remember that girl went away. And she didn't go away back to her desk and go, oh, I've made a cunt of this. She went away back to her desk and went, he's an arsehole. Oh, is he? Aye. Oh, aye. Fucking think she knows it all. They used to do the same with watches. And now I realise, and by the way, I only found out that they were all scamming only a few years ago. They were all the buyers were all scamming. They were all doing deals with the suppliers. So they were selling stuff to the channel at an inflated price. And what was happening was we were covering it up. The presenters were covering it up by outperforming the products all the time. And then eventually the channel went bust. And this is why companies go bust, is because they had so much stock that they couldn't shift in the warehouse. And then all of a sudden you can't pay for new products. and then the channel gets liquidated because you owe your creditors more than you're able to pay. And that's what happened, and that's why those channels went bust, because of those people. So when you've got people going, what's that price for? My dad always said to me when I was a boy, went, wind your neck in, just fucking keep your head down. But you don't take your.
It's that sense of injustice as well, isn't it?
Well, that's because you think, what's fair, what's right, and then. But the people that get on are the ones that just keep their head down and go, I ain't bother, I'll say, great, Schlesinger, we'll do our best. Whereas I think, that's dishonest to say I'm going to, I'll do my best, but we're not going to sell it for that price.
Aye, speaking out, because somebody went, yes, man, like, listen, this is the price, and like, I'll sell it for
sell
that price.
No problem. And then, and like I say, I've studied management, I did a master's in business. That's something that you kind of, it's all about managing frictionless. So if you've got somebody going, I don't think that's very good, you're highlighting that somebody along the line somewhere has maybe not done the job that they should have done, that they've maybe not thought of something. Would you want that person in highlighting it to you all the time?
No, it's seen as a problem, especially if you're committing some form of illegality, because like he's speaking out about this. If he finds out what you're up to, he's going to be saying something. And that's the last thing they want.
Of course, that's right. So then what happens is people go, it was his, he's very disruptive.
And they put it on you.
But again, you can live your life with a big chip on your shoulder. It's no good for you. And, you know, you've just got to go that, well, you need to take what you can learn from that, which is maybe just fucking keep your head down. Or don't, but just be comfortable with the outcome of what happens. So just say, well, if you're going to just be true to yourself, cool. But remember, you're going to make yourself a lot harder to manage or to be in. So, it was good fun though for the most part, because it was a hard shift. You were on air for 3.5 hours. You used to go in 3.5 hours before you went on air to prep and all that, do your makeup and all that, but prep the products. I used to get in about 5 hours before I went on air. So I know a lot about a load of stupid things. Like I can tell you about fine bone china, I can tell you about Elvis's back catalogue, I can tell you about women's fashion, crochet ruche detailing, stitching. I can tell you about Brazilian garnet. I was about to say amitriptyline there, but amethyst. I can tell you about amitriptyline as well.
There's a fucking pub of Langare. I thought amethyst, you probably get some amitriptyline in it.
So just all those sorts of things. So it was good fun for a point. But the best thing it gave you was a confidence to just stand and you can keep going and keep talking. And I could do all this while somebody was talking to me. That's my great skill, is I can now eavesdrop professionally. So if you're sitting at dinner, my missus and all that, I'm tuned in like, I'm listening to a couple behind me arguing. I can do that, no bother.
All right, aye.
Because you work with the earpiece in, and you could hear the producer, the director, the sound guy, all talking to different people, and they'd be like, right, James, we're going to drop the price, and I'd be like that. I'd be like, yes, if you just look here, I'm like, so and they would all be talking, not listening to you, and then I would just walk off camera and stand at the side until they noticed.
Really, aye?
So that's what I mean.
Stuff like that kind of thing.
That's what I mean. So then you're making yourself a target, because then the directors and that are going, oh, he's a dick, because you're highlighting, you're not working, who wants to work with you? And that, I always think it's a good analogy for football management, right? Like, the manager more often than not is right, but there's only one manager, and there's a squad of 20 odd players. So who's it easier to get rid of? The players are not responding to the manager. So a lot of football managers have come in. I always remember the example of Paolo Di Canio at Sunderland. He was like, you fucking banned ketchup in the canteen. Professional footballers, fucking ketchup. No. They're quite strict and all that, and they were just all assholes. And they were fucking, who are we going to get rid of? Di Canio or fucking 20 players? And that, sorry, Paolo. And that's exactly that. That's what happens. You've got to make yourself easy.
Pleasing the masses, innit?
Or unless you, like you say, you have confidence and you can make it your own way and your own merit, and you get there. So I'm hoping it's the latter, but we'll see.
And it's all about staying true to yourself as well, because you talk about that, it's picking your own battles. Do you go against your beliefs, what you stand for, or do you stand up for what you believe in but suffer the consequences as a result? And it is, especially as you've suffered to the degree where you've been to a point, you've been on telly, you've been at a point of what people would class successful. You probably classed yourself as that at some point, and you were. But to go, right, I did stand up for what I felt was right, and it shot me back, as you say, you end up staying back at your mums and dads at 30, because that must have been like a fucking bit of a crash to fucking rock bottom. So the feeling of that, you're like, right, do I want that again? Am I making the right decision here? And you have that kind of question of yourself.
Correct. And then I just did it again, didn't I? When I was about 36, man, had a breakdown. You're right. I think what happens is you get brought up all these phrases and sayings and teachings, and I think I'm going to write a book saying, no, don't. If you want to be successful, keep your head down. Fucking just agree with people. Don't stand up for what you believe in. Just keep that all inside and get by. You know what I mean? Like, because nobody tells you that. That's not a romantic saying, is it? You know, it's like, at least you can put your head on the pillow at night, son. I can put my head on the pillow every night, right? But what I might do is not fucking get involved in it all. So they are not romantic sort of sayings. They are not something that you would put up on your Instagram. Do you know what I mean? You're like, stay true to yourself. You just be like, no, just agree with everybody. Think what you think, but just agree with everybody. Just say, aye, that's the fuck amazing. You know what I mean? Get a job for the council. Get a job for a big company. Just fucking work to live, alright? Just, I ain't bother, that's cool. Just, right, and go up the road and just go, I don't really fucking care.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? But you sort of have all these sort of phrases and sayings and parables are all about, you know, be true to yourself, stand up, don't take no shit. And you're like, aye, that's great, but I'll remind you what that's like when I'm fucking signing on.
I suppose so. Is that your view on it now kind of thing? Like, just get the head down and kind of focus on it and just try not get too emotionally involved in these things?
I think that's probably the best thing, is try not to get emotionally involved. I can't change who I am, but it's like you were talking about earlier before, like sort of addictive personalities, and I think I've got quite an addictive personality. So I moved back in with mum and dad when I was 30, and I took a job with C.R. Smith selling double glazing. And I remember going for the interview thinking, oh, fucking don't want to take this fucking double glazing salesman, man. It's the fucking lowest of the low. I mean, that was my view in it. And the guy that was the managing director, C.R. Smith, just a brilliant guy. Still friends with him. Just a really amazing, brilliant guy. And I went for a job when I was in London, right? And I was unemployed. At this point, I had a degree. I'd been on television, looked after my brother. I've been in the Philippines. I've done a lot in my life. I thought, I just want a job. So I went into Soho and handed out my CV and all that. And I remember there was 2 job interviews that really stick in my mind. I went for one interview where it was like a clothing shop, like a kind of Spanish clothing shop. You weren't buying ponchos or sombreros. It was just like a kind of trendy Zara type thing. And I remember getting in for the job, and they phoned me, came in for the interview. I was talking to the girls that worked in the shop, and I was like, what's it like to work here? And they're like, oh, you know, it's great, you know, we're just here to learn to speak English, you know, we'll probably only be here for a couple of months, and then we'll just travel in the UK, blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. So went up the stairs, and they interviewed me as a wee panel, like, right, James, you know, wow, looking at your CV, wow, you've had a lot of jobs. And I was like, I'm 30, man, I've never been unemployed, of course I've had a lot of jobs. Right? Yeah, okay, so it was all that, you know, we want somebody to grow. And I worked in crews when I was 20, right? I worked in a shop. I used to work in a bed and breakfast when I was 15, cleaning the toilets, changing the sheets. I've always worked. And they're like, yeah, we want someone, you know, we don't just want someone who's going to, you know, come here, you know, like learn how to speak English. And I'm like, I'm Scottish, mate. I know how to speak English. What are you talking about, right? So they're just operating off this kind of script. They're not really paying attention to what's in front of you. And, you know, so we want somebody who's going to sort of grow with us and all this pattern. And I was like, mate, it's working in a shop, it's retail. You get a high turnover. You have new staff every 6 months. That's retail. Are you going to fix this now?
Did you say that to him?
I think I did. Fucking obviously did not get that job. Right? And I went for a job as a shop assistant. I've still kept the rejection letter. I went for a job as a shop assistant in Swarovski, right? Swarovski crystal. Right. I've sold Swarovski fucking crystal on the telly, right? I know hundreds about Swarovski. I'm not saying I know everything about Swarovski, but I know a lot, right? And I went for a job, and the job interview was it was near Victoria Station. It was kind of sort of South London, right? And I was in West London at the time. And anyway, I got there, and they're interviewing. It's a panel of 3 girls. One girl turned up late to be part of the panel, and I was like, should not be me that fucking turns up late. Honestly, they were like, right, so James, like, so how do you think you'll cope working in a shop? And I was like, what do you mean? Well, it's very different from, you know, being on television. I was like, in what way? Well, it's just very different. I went, well, could you give me some examples, please? And like, again, it's my fault because I'm being confrontational, even though I'm being polite, even though I'm being articulate. I'm sitting there and I say outsmarting them, but they'd be like that, because they didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. Because nobody wants to turn around and go, aye mate, listen, you can do this job. It's no fucking rocket science. And that's not me being disrespectful to anyone that works in a shop. I know that it will be hard work and demanding, but it's not hard in the respect of most people could do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not. I've worked in a shop. It's no rocket science. Right? Just fucking tell me where you want me. Pick things up, put things down, hit the no problem. And honestly, never get that job either, man. They spent most of the time asking, you know, where I came from. They're like, right, so you've come all the way from West London? Oh, I was like, what the fuck is going on here, man?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you know, that most people when they'll go for an interview, you've got to just talk. The two people in interviews are just talking the biggest amount of shit ever. So, you know, what is it that makes you want this job? And you know, you're like, well, you know, I'm just looking for new opportunities. I'm looking to grow. You know, rather than saying, listen, mate, I'm fucking skinny.
Aye. You can't be honest.
I'm desperate. And they're saying, listen, it's maybe not the best company in the world, but if you do well here, or if you stick it out, there's some opportunities. Instead, it's, well, you know, listen, we're one big family here, and we like to do things. Oh, rubbish.
Aye.
You know what I mean? So I went for the job at C.R. Smith, and he was the first guy. He just went, aye, you could do this job, no bother. He says, but I don't know if you'd want a lot of rejection involved. You sit on a lot of couches at night and take a lot of rejection. You know, and he was quizzing me about the fit behind in the Philippines because he thought I just made it up. Because he's like, listen, the guy told me, listen, we've interviewed thousands of guys who've told me they're kung fu experts and all that, and they've been like, show some moves. The guys are doing disco dancing and all that. So he's like, all right, you've the fit Satanta, right? Okay, I DJ, right? Oh, I Fitba player. What was that like? You know? And he made me talk about the Fitba. And I said, oh, this guy called Brian Reid was a manager, used to be manager of United. He signed me and all that. He said, all right, what was Brian Reid like? I'm, fucking big Reedy this, Reedy that. And then he went, I used to go on holiday with Reedy quite a lot. He's a good pal of mine. Just randomly. So he phoned the manager in the Philippines after I left the office and went, listen, do you have a boy called James Cottar playing for you out there? And they went, who, big crazy legs? And I, not sure about the Fitba, but he's a good boy. and I ended up getting the job. So I was at C.R. Smith for like 6 years. And I bought a flat, I paid off my debt, bought a flat, paid for my masters, got my master's degree, and basically I think I was about 36, man. I was just like that. Is this it? Excuse me.
No worries. It's an old poofy.
I was like, is this it? And basically, when I look back now, I had essentially a breakdown. I don't really like the term breakdown because I think there's a lot of stigma attached to it. Burnout, existential
midlife crisis,
awakening, whatever it is. But I was really, really unhappy.
Right.
I kind of, you always know deep down you're unhappy, but you don't know if you know how to articulate it. It's hard to admit as well. Do you know what I mean? And I was working 6.5 days a week at that point, and I was working from 10 in the morning to 10 at night. It was a really well paying job. I was working commission only. It allowed me to do a lot of different things, but I was doing that to fill a void in my life. You know, I would pop in and see my mum and dad, see my brother, see my sister, and I would just work all the time. And what would happen was, we'd get to a Saturday, I'd work on a Saturday morning for about 10, 11 to about 4 or 5, and then on Saturday night I'd just go out and go mental. And then
on the sesh,
just out drinking and all that, and then, you know, fucking Sunday would be what Sunday would be, you know what I mean? And then you would drag yourself back to work on Monday, and I was just so unhappy. And then what happens is I was earning like really good money, but I was in massive debt because I was just spending all the time trying to make myself happy. But it's easy to say now you know what you were doing, and you look at your patterns of behaviour and you go, that's why you were doing that, but you don't know at the time. You're like, I'm unhappy, you know what I mean? Just did stupid things, you know what I mean? And like just trying to impress the wrong people, just trying to buy things to make myself feel better, spending money on clothes. I used to have a C.R. Smith, a works car, right? You had to lease it from the company, but you paid for it with your commission and all that, but it was £500 a month to lease this car, right? And I ended up buying a Porsche. I bought myself a Porsche right? And I used to drive it one day a week. I used to come home at night at like 10 o'clock at night if I finished early, and I'd get the post, I'd drive up round Summerston and put it back in the garage. You know what I mean? Lost a fortune on it, kept it for about 7-8 months, sold it. I was doing all these things because I thought that'll make me popular or that'll make me happier, and it didn't. And in the end, I ended up selling my flat.
Right.
Sold my flat and everything because I had to pay off my. I was like, I just couldn't see a way. I couldn't see a way out of the rut that I was in. And that's the thing, I was surrounded by a loving family. You know, I really liked the company that I worked for. You know, it was, but me, I felt so lonely. I was so unhappy. I just couldn't see how the fuck did I get here. Like the thought of staying doing that job a minute longer to try and get, because I was earning really good money. I just couldn't do it, man. I was like, I'm selling this house. I needed a break, and I ended up moving in with a mate of mine. So I'd gone back again. I was like, oh, we'll just fucking do this again, man. Back, fucking no job, no money, you know, sharing the room in my friend's house, you know what I mean? And then you kind of, I think that's when I met my girlfriend. Sort of lockdown happened, we locked down together, and life just sort of changes. But it's easy to say that that's what the solution was, you know what I mean? It's when you're unhappy, and I think when you talk about mental health and all these things, I still think we're missing a huge amount about understanding the signs of unhappiness for people, men, women, loneliness, you know, and then you end up, you turn to the only thing that you can, it could, like you say, it could be different vices, and then all of a sudden you're just in that rut, you know what I mean? And it's so I always think about that, you know, the screenshot that everybody shares, you know, hi bro, struggling a wee bit, fancy meeting up for a coffee and a chat. And I think anything's good that highlights, you know, the plight of mental health and people's vulnerability. Anything's good. But I kind of think we're missing a trick with that one, because the amount of times people would say, you alright, big man? I'm like, aye. And inside you're like, no, I'm fucking not alright.
Aye.
I'm desperate to say that I'm not alright. But what do? You're trying to hold it together for other people.
And it's that pleasing others thing that is, you find people that's the most unhappiest people, the people that are trying to please others and that kind of thing, as you say. And you talk about people dating many different ways. You find a lot of comedians, funny enough, actually are in that kind of spectrum of things, because the other try to get, it's almost external validation. I'm not saying everyone involved in it, but I find it's quite popular.
Yeah, I'm really bad for really maybe that's the wrong word to use, but yeah, I constantly looking for external validation, and it's hard sometimes. You need to remind yourself, you know, like you I don't know if it's the same for you when you're doing gigs, but when you're on social media, you see somebody else has got a gig. My first rap, why the fuck have I not got that gig?
Aye, totally.
You know what I mean? And then you internalise it, like
you take it personally, take it as a personal attack.
Right, and then
They don't like me, I must be shite.
Yeah, that's it. And then you need to go, actually, well, and it's constantly trying to work that mindset of, well, that's good. That means if they're getting an opportunity, you'll get an opportunity. You know what I mean? So it was, no, that was I think back, really hard. Not that long ago, you know what I mean? But 4.5 years ago, it was a hard time. But like I say, you don't know what you know until you know it. You know what I mean? So it's, you know, somebody else, I think a friend of mine went, listen, I could have told you that, and you went, I know, but I couldn't have told that.
Nah, you had to learn it, you had to experience it.
What are you talking about? I'm dead happy, you know what I mean? And you look back now and you go, cringe material, man, you know what I mean? But I always think if people are able just to talk about it, because I think the term midlife crisis, I really don't like that term, because I think we've turned it into a bit of a cliche, and I think it's actually people, we don't question what we've been taught, which is get up, get out in the world, get a good job, get a trade, get a degree, go to uni, just be safe, be steady, get a house, get married, have kids. And I'm not decrying any of those things, but that's why it's called a midlife crisis, because it takes people until they're in their 40s, typically speaking, even their 50s, to wake up and they go, fuck, what's my life been about? Who have I done this for? Right? And it's nothing to do with not loving your kids, your family, it's just going, fuck, am I happy? And like you say, it takes that, whereas we don't teach this in schools. We don't say in schools from an early age, you know what you should actually do? You should actually do what makes you happy. What would you like to do, Jordan? What's your personality, right? Are you quite creative? Do you talk a lot? Well, listen, you may actually really enjoy working in this environment. You might enjoy having a trade, right? The reason you might enjoy having a trade is if you could run your own company. Instead, it's you a bit thick, son. You could do tech, you do woodwork and design, right? You do PE. Do you know what I mean? Like we don't teach happiness. We teach go in the world, get a job. And obviously, typically speaking, if you've come from a working class background, your parents will have not come from a lot. So their natural inclination for you is to have more than they had. So, in my opinion, children that went to private school, largely because their folks can afford it, right? They're like, just go out and be happy. You go and do whatever you want. You'll be successful. Whereas I felt like, my parents, my mum's mixed race. She came over from India when she was 10. My dad grew up in the Kirkcalds before it got torn down, and then moved to Easterhouse when they just built the first sort of quadrants in Easterhouse and then in the Milton. Hard working families, but when you don't have a lot, you think you're not going to be a gambler, you're not going to be cavalier because I can fucking lose all this. Whereas when you've come from a bit more security, you get, yes, just go and do what you want. And that's not decrying anyone that's been to private school, because again, their parents, I'm sure, will have worked hard, or the parents before them. We shouldn't be annoyed at other people for privilege, but it's teaching that confidence that you can go and do whatever you want, and actually being happy is the most important thing. Instead, I think we teach it in society the wrong way about. It's like, be safe, get a job, get a house, fucking load yourself up with hundreds of debt, and then fucking work till you're 70 now, or you're 67, I think, the retirement. When you think about stuff like that,
Aye.
and nobody's saying to you, what do you want your week to look like? I think that's why so many people now are turning to all your online gurus and Jordan Petersons and Grant Cardones and whoever, all these people, because they're going, there is another way, whether you agree with them or not. We're not teaching a lot of stuff like that at school. And
that's one of the great things of like social media as such, because there's a lot more access to these kind of people, as you say. It's like they give you the confidence to go, wait a minute, if this. And don't get me wrong, there's people out there that love doing the 9 to 5, and as you say, that life talk about. There's people that want that, and fair play to them. And I'm thinking you're the same personally. That's no for me. And it's good that we've got these access to these maybe online gurus, or even just these wee 1 minute clips that tell you like, listen man, this doesn't need to be your life. There's another life, because I grew up, I was always thinking maybe come from a working class background. You weren't able to think outside to become creative, or even if you could be creative, you weren't able to make a career out of it. And I feel privileged to be in a time where we've got such access to the information on the internet, that where we can see, like, wait a minute, this person done it, and we've got control at our fingertips. What you're talking about, like when we're talking about these lights, 10 years ago, you need a professional setup. If you're want to go and work, you want to act, you need to get signed to agencies and all that kind of stuff. Like, you can literally do it for the comfort of your own house.
I think one of the things I do regret in life was when I was 18, they used to do, I used to watch MTV a lot. MTV used to do like the kind of almost after school stuff, where I think Ralph Little and Kelly Brook used to like be in their wee studio in Leicester Square, and they would just be playing music, and they would. And I remember, so they used to get casting calls from time to time for MTV searching for presenters. It was just a little talent searches. So I remember, like, the model agency would send you down, or they would phone nightclubs in the area, and they would say, listen, they're looking for presenters, go down for auditions. So we went down to these auditions. I was 18, and there was a room full of people. You were there all day, and I remember I fancied a girl there at the time, so I stayed all day. So the producer took me up 3 times for the auditions, right? His name was James Cottar. I always remember, it was like head of talent at MTV, gave me his card. Listen, if you don't hear from us, phone me. Do you know I never phoned that guy? Ever. Because in my head I was like, no, my mum will not allow that. She don't want me to do I'm at uni and all that. Do you know what I mean? Just never... Just little things like that, like you say. It never occurred to me that you could go and do sort of those things. It never occurred to me that I could leave home. And when I say leave home, leave Glasgow, because I thought, no, my parents and my family are so reliant upon me for helping with Alexander's care. And they were. It was never implicit. They never said, you need to stay here. But that you just function as best you can. It wasn't until I was like, is it all right if I go? And yeah, of course. But it was hard. It was hard for them when I left. You know what I mean? But it then allowed another change to happen, and we got more care for my brother, and he's living more of an independent life. So you don't think, and like, when it comes to the Fringe this summer, there's a lot of complaints apparently in the comedy community that a lot of people can't afford to do the Edinburgh Fringe, and that's why a lot of middle class performers end up performing at the Fringe, because they can afford to do it. You know what I mean? They can afford to go up. It's a couple of grand accommodation cost, maybe a couple of grand to put on your show. You might not make it back in ticket sales. A lot of people can't afford that, and that's where we shouldn't hate against anyone from the middle class or anyone that's had, because class is a very fluid thing now. My girlfriend's like, well, you're probably middle class now. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm fortunate enough we both do okay. I don't need to worry about the cost of heating bills the way that maybe some people do, or stuff like that. So class is a fluid thing. You know what I mean? But I know where I come from. So all these things, like, they're looking for people from sort of diversity, and I'd never thought about being a performer of the arts or being an actor or a singer. Or, I mean, I can't sing, but do you know what I mean? Like, but you know what I mean? So like you say, I think that's the thing. If I was able to have any, if I was to ever have any chance of designing or helping, sort of lesson plans for kids, it would be actually, to tell them that first and foremost, we should be making kids ready, a bit more ready for the world. That's all. Should be picking your subjects at 13 to think about what you're going to do at uni. I remember picking my standard grades, doing computing and fucking science and French and all that. Oh, because I was thinking about, at 13 I was maybe wanting to go to university, or I was go to. But you should be. Just go to school and listen. Whatever happens when you finish, just try and teach them to be good people. You know what I mean, and give them some life skills. That, like, go to uni if that's what you want to do, but that's not what success is. And success isn't just getting a trade, and success is going to be shaping the life the way that you want it to be. Have you ever thought about moving? That's the thing, they don't teach that. And like, you look at the state of the country now, man, I just think, fucking hell, for kids coming through now, I just think it's not a good, I don't think it's a good world to be bringing kids into, because it's so much harder now. You know what I mean? Like, fucking the state of the state of the economy that you've got now, jobs, cost of things, and then we're creating this two-tiered society now, whereas if you've got the money for it, great, but everybody else, you're on your Todd.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That seems to be the way it's gone as well. And I think you do a great thing in your, as I said before, in your TikTok, about pointing out these kind of inequalities and breaking it down, because it's not really available as such in mainstream media. It's not available to the degree where it's as black and white as we can understand it. It's written in such a way, or there's only certain pockets of information where it's hard to kind of understand what's really going on. And we talk about that sense of injustice you felt through your life with your brother and that kind of thing. Do you feel as if that's playing a part in this feeling about wanting to help the youth and help them understand? Because I remember you saying you were wanting to become a college lecturer.
Aye, so I'm waiting on an interview actually. I don't watch this podcast, maybe they will. I'm waiting on an interview actually for a college, for a temporary sort of lecturer's position. So I would really like to do that, because I went to college when I was 16. My mum went to college when she was in her 40s. My mum went to uni when she was 51, became a secondary school teacher at 51,
Really? Brilliant, man.
Aye, and my mum did that. She used to be an aerobics instructor. She used to teach keep fit classes at the Maryhill Juniors club at the gym there at the Lead Gowan Hall in Maryhill. So, like, she was doing all that while my dad was unemployed. Well, the last year and a half she was at uni. So, what, Mum was an amazing woman. So, with like a lot of people, you've had to kind of just, do what you've had to do. So, but that all started with her going to college. So, for me, I loved to go. I went to Langside College when I was 16. It was brilliant. So all of a sudden, I was kicking about with guys in their 20s. Just a different, you weren't flinging milk cartons about the playground, you know what I mean, booting balls up in the roof. You were actually, just everybody found that their pace. So I would like to do that with Alexander. The whole sort of stuff with Alexander is actually what my show's going to be about in the summer. The show is going to be called, I'm going to say it now, right, you can have this exclusive.
Yes.
It's going to be a 5-star show. I'm going to get a 5-star review on this. The show is called Born in a Wheelchair. Because that's what I used to always say. My brother was born in a wheelchair, and I don't know, for me it just stuck in my head. And the whole show is basically about, it's just really about, I suppose, how my life has been shaped and influenced by having Alexander as a brother. So it's not a kind of, it's not going to be a weepy tearjerker. It's going to be like, it just kind of explores how's that made me as a person, because it's made me really good in some ways. It's also made me really bad in some ways, because like you say, like I've got a real sense of fairness and, you know, very sensitive, but that means I can be too sensitive. That means I can be huffy. That means I can be a martyr. Do you know what I mean? And then it's all about kind of, I'm also, whilst I'm very tolerant, I'm also quite intolerant, because I think, in my head I'm like, are they disabled? Oh no, because my brother's disabled. I equate disability to my brother's profound level of disability, whereas somebody who's autistic is also disabled, right? So it's kind of, it's exploring the kind of dark side where you're looking at people going, should you be on this disabled platform? Do you know what I mean?
Aye. So
just, it will, first and foremost, it will be funny, but I think I've got about 30 years worth to unpack there of just fucking all the things that, you know, we've had to, I mean, like, try to take my brother on planes, try to get him fucking, we never had a blue badge for 30 years, you know what I mean? We like, blue badge, what's that? We didn't need that, you know what I mean? People just go on with it. So it's just kind of based on that. So that's sort of, like you say, and it's recognising that sense of injustice, unity, that's good, because there's a lot of good to that. That'll make you fair. I'm a pretty honest guy. I'm fucking right. I'll play it straight. But also, you've got to remember sometimes that'll have a negative impact in your life too, because I seek out the injustice too much. Oh, that's really unfair. And you need to go, I know, but life's unfair. Just because you think that doesn't mean everyone else is. And it's like I was saying to you before we came on, you know, a boy offered me a comedy gig. And you fancy doing one of these gigs? Fucking brilliant, look forward to it. Then he put up the thing on Instagram last night, 3 gigs he's putting over the next 3 weeks. I'm not on any of them, and I was like, oh, how dare you, how fucking treacherous. Right? And then I was like, okay, no conspiracy against you. I'm like, it's so unfair. Imagine saying to me and not giving me the gig. You guys, maybe he just fucking forgot, you know what I mean? But so it's recognising, because otherwise I'll let that wreck my head. You'll sit and think about Satanta for the rest of your life and go, could it be you, big man? And that's when the negativity kicks in, and then you start feeling sorry for yourself.
Become bitter.
That's it, and it's hard not to be bitter. There's days where I'm bitter. Most of the time I'm not, but you know yourself, you get those neggy moments, and you're just like, you're a bastard.
Exactly, and it's being aware of that, and the fact is, I think, see the fact that you're able to kind of identify, like, right, why do I feel like this? Because you realise you're looking at the world through a lens, and through the lens of inequality, and like, how have I acquired that lens? And then it's having a look into yourself and kind of going like, right, where does this stem from? And as you say, you feel a lot of it has stemmed from having a disabled brother and having to navigate life with all the difficulties a disabled person has to go through, because you're pretty much been his carer for a young age, so you've had to navigate it with him. So at what point were you able to identify that and go, oh, wait a minute, this is partly a reason why I'm feeling these emotions?
Probably only around about last year.
Right, so this is quite a recent thing.
Quite a recent thing. I've done a bit of counselling as well, but you know, over the years. But it's like anything else, everything's fluid. You don't realise things until maybe down the line. Let's say, like, what's funny is, like, my girlfriend, she finds it hilarious. If I bump into people, like, I know from Summerson, they're playing football, and she'll be like, oh, what are you putting that mad voice on for? Because I'm like, alright, what's happening, bro? And she's like, you don't talk like that, right? And I'm like, aye, a day, right? And then, so we always have this joke. She's like, James, you're not an Ed. And I'm like, I am right? Because, like I say, I went to Jordan Hill, but I kind of got really badly bullied at Jordan Hill, right? And then I learned to fight, and you'd be having, so I was fighting with people, I was fucking taking on folk myself, but then you were still getting bullied. People were still talking about you behind your back and excluding you. It's horrible. So then you put on a personality to cope with that. So then you'd be walking into the room and you'd be making a show of yourself, and you'd be offering people a square go and, right, what you saying and all that. Yeah. And then for me, like, the people that kind of were the nicest to me, the people that were the most honest, were the bammiest people that I knew. Right? Like, and you know, my mates from Summerson, they're just normal guys, but they always came to the door for me. You know, my mum would tell me to take Alexander out. They never once stopped coming to the door. And I never really only realised recently, you know, because as a kid, you don't really want to be different. You just want to blend in. You don't want to stand out, you know. And there's me in Summerson, kicking about with a brown blazer, brown shorts, a brown jumper, People going like, aye, you're pure posh, you stay in that big house. And I'm like, what, the fucking house in the same street as you, what are you talking about? Right? Aye, you go to that mad school. So you stand out already. Then my nan, I only had one grandparent, my nan, she's Indian. So I'm like, is that your gran? Is she a Paki? And I'm like, ah, you know, do you know what I mean? And so you again, you're standing out.
Aye.
And then I'm pushing my brother about in the wheelchair, you know what I mean? You're standing out. Then you're going to Jordan Hill, fucking, oh, you don't. And I did a gig on Saturday night in Jordan Hill, and I said this, and it's true. The parents used to fucking interrogate me, man, when I was only 6 and 7. They'd be like, so how did you get into this school, James?
Really?
So
Aye?
my mum fiddled it, you know what I mean? That we lived there. Aye, of course, it's a catchment area school. People are paying mega money for houses in Jordan Hill so they can be in the catchment area.
Right.
And there's me going to Jordan Hill School for Summerston. So, you know, I stood out everywhere I went. Everywhere I went. So it kind of makes you a target. So, like, for me, you know, I played, you know, Jordan Hill didn't have a football team. They played rugby. And I remember, like, well, I'm not playing rugby, man. Rugby's I'm playing that. So they were, well, you can play rugby or play hockey with the girls. I went, right, fine, I'll play hockey with the girls. So I played football with boys for Knightswood, Temple, Drumchapel and stuff like that. So they were always the people where I got that just kind of took me in, really, you know what I mean?
Had an
So
affinity with.
I kind of, that's where that kind of, my girlfriend gets annoyed with me. She's like, stop kidding on your own head. I'm like, no, I am. Because they were the people that were always just the most honest. If they didn't like you, they didn't like you. You know, they'd either battered you or tell you to bolt. Whereas I always felt that sense of injustice came from as well being around more middle class people who wouldn't say it to your face, but would be sticking the knife in behind you. So it comes from that, comes from my brother, you know, his everything in there. And I think it's like anything else, you're just aware of, most people I'm sure will have similar experiences where they'll know, you know, it isn't a just world, you know what I mean? So only in the last probably year and a half I've realised, right, that's why you used to fight all the time. Right, that's why. And you know, and I think, all right, okay, maybe it's that. That's when I'm looking at that constantly. Because again, it's a really unfair world for disabled people. It's really unfair because there's a thing where people have said, you're only as disabled by the society you live in. So if you've got a disability, you will have a medical condition, you will always have that medical condition, but you're only disabled by the society you live in. So that means, well, you're only disabled by the society if there's only one disabled access space on the bus, or if you've got big giant pavements and big giant curbs, then well that's, but if everyone's all ramped and everyone's accessible, then you're not disabled by the society. You may have a medical condition, but you can access everything the same way.
I see.
That's what's called the social model of disability.
Right, I see.
Yeah, so it's, you know, I think I was on another podcast, the boy Kieran Burns was a great guy, and he used the film Elf as a good analogy,
right,
where he says Will Ferrell is disabled when he's living in the North Pole because he's giant and everything's all made for the elves. It's small, and so when he goes into New York, whatever, he's kind of a bit more in a world that's more acceptable to him. So that's what I mean. You're only disabled by the framework around you.
Right, I see.
You know what I mean? So for us, there's just a million and one things that you had to, you know, I used to take Alexander to gigs a lot when I was like 18. I used to take my brother to King Tut's. Now King Tut's, you've got to go down 3 steps.
Aye.
Then you've got to go up.
Aye, it's
2
quite
flights
tricky.
of
It's quite
stairs.
tricky on 2 feet.
Aye, and I'd have to pull him. I'd be 18-year-old pulling him up in the wheelchair. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'd be there myself with Alexander. Then I'd need to put him at the back. And this is at the time before the smoking ban came in. So people would stand with a cigarette in their horn, doing a bit there, which is absolute fucking level for my brother's arms. My brother's not got control of his arms, so his arms will be a wee bit flailing. And he'd be, you know, in the past he'd been stood by people's cigarettes, stuff like that. So I'd need to have him at the back, and I'd need to say to guys, "Excuse me, mate, could you stand there with that body, just so people don't bump into him and all that, because you wouldn't see a wheelchair if you're walking, you wouldn't see a wheelchair trip over the footplate." So stuff like that, you just had to you do it. And it's only you start thinking, it's a bit shite, innit? So you also can become sort of you can start becoming obsessed with that, and then you start looking at things all the time, and then you start rabble rousing because you're like, oh, so every time I see somebody parked in a disabled spot, I'm like, and it's nothing to do with me, nothing to do with me at all, and I'm like, I'm going to say something here, you know, and people are just like, fuck off, mate, it's got to do with you. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm going to say something. I see it all the time. I'm like, it's fucking scandalous. My missus is like, just try and not let it bother you. But that's what I mean. So you can seek out that injustice as well. You know what I mean? So it's like you need to try and switch your brain off to it. It's a wee bit like seeking out rejection. You know what I mean? Like that's how you end up in negative patterns of behaviour, because you go external validation. What's the best way to get it? I want to be validated by somebody that doesn't like me. And that's why you can have, you know, a pattern of chasing after the wrong man or woman, and you know, because I used to do that. I thought, oh no, I'm going to chase this girl who just doesn't really like me that much.
Aye. I date to know.
You know what I mean? What about that person that really likes you?
No interested, don't give a fuck.
No, thank you. You're a good person. You know what I mean? And then that's when like you start blaming everyone on the other person. Fucking she's this. You know, it's the wrong person you're chasing after. It's the wrong people that you're wanting to like you. But that's what you do. Why would you want the person that thinks you're a nice guy? Oh no, I don't want that.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean?
There's no chase in it, and it's like human beings, they love that thrill of the chase, even if they know they're not going to get it. I don't know if it goes back to like fucking
childhood. It's human nature,
or even just human nature. Let's see, like hunting, when people used to hunt, like back like fucking thousands of years ago, like humanity used to hunt. It was the hunt, the chase, to catch, or kill and survive. I don't know if that's, maybe it's just in their DNA.
Could be that. I think so. Also as well, it's I think in the childhood development, you want what you can't have.
Aye.
Tell a baby they can't have something, you want it. And you've always got that, and it's a bit like rejection. I used to chase the rejection all the time, because it's a bit like, oh, it makes me feel alive. I think that's when people as well, you know, because you go, why do you keep doing that? And so people will say, why do you keep end up in these pattern of toxic relationships or bad relationships? You're like, you keep going after that same person because you maybe think that particular personality validates you. And I should do all that. Oh no, they need to be this, they need to be an influencer, they need to be a model, they need to be intelligent, they need to be, I'm going to chase that because I want all those things to tick off, as opposed to the person in front of you. And that's what happens, because you're unhappy. So you think, it's like me buying a Porsche. What the fuck did I buy a Porsche for? I'm an idiot. And by the way, it was about 10-year-old Porsche. You know what I mean?
Oh, is it? Mean a brand new one?
I could afford, man. Do you know what I mean? But again, that was me just like trying to get validation from completely the wrong things. Completely the wrong things, man. So I'm hoping I can kind of turn all this into quite good material to talk about. But it is, and I'm fortunate now. I've got a brilliant relationship with an amazing woman. Let's say girl, but you know, we're in our 30s now, 40 now. But it takes you a long time to figure these things out. And like I say, was it having an existential crisis, stroke breakdown, stroke? I mean, I don't know. Because you start going, right, okay, what have I been doing with myself here?
See, you talk about, like, you that run about the time, see, we're buying a Porsche and buying all these lavish things and that, just to impress other people for that external validation. See, when you got into comedy, do you think that was another symptom of this external validation? Was it what pushed into comedy? How did you find yourself going into comedy?
It's a good question. It's a really good question, because there's always a bit of that. Obviously, I think in any sort of performance, there must be a bit of that where you're wanting that validation. For me, the comedy, it came for two things. I've always, because of Alexander, one of the great joys in my life is making my brother laugh. So I'll come in. So I went in to see him the other day, and I'll be like, I'll start putting on voices, and I'll be like, I think I took my dog up to see him, right, and he hates dogs. And I was going like, James, it's a fucking dog free flat in here, alright? What are you bringing that dog up here for? Right, get him to fucking. He was laughing and all that, and just so it makes me laugh. So I've always been kind of putting on performances for Alexander, doing voices, doing impressions, just doing things. So I've always been wanting that. I probably didn't get enough attention growing up as well. Absolutely zero angst towards my parents and all that, because my brother, of course, he requires more care and attention because he's so vulnerable. He's dependent on 24-hour care. So I probably didn't get, because I used to go to school, and again, he didn't know you know what I mean? They were all, oh, do you not get enough attention at school, at home, James? And I think, well, probably not, you know what I mean? So there's a bit of that. I probably always want to be performing, centre of attention, because when you're on stage, look at me. So there's a bit of that. But how I actually got into comedy, I was in London, and it was my my old flatmate, his mate Dave Frampton. You got to see this guy, the fucking most handsome guy in the world. By the way,
really? Aye.
His name's David Frampton. Look him up on Instagram, loving. Honestly, you'll swoon, right? And I think he's got 3 brothers who are equally as good looking, like, and they're all like one's a celebrity movement specialist, does all stretching and all that. And
right.
they all model for Ralph Lauren and all that.
Oh, really?
I see the guy's ripped. The guy was ripped to shreds, man, and he would just be eating a bag of twirls, getting stoned every night.
Oh, really?
He's a really cool guy, and he said to me, he said, James, he's got this really positive, and you should do this comedy course on stage. You'd love it. Yeah, I think you'd really enjoy it. Yeah. And so I did it. It was a guy called Logan Murray. It was in London about 10 years ago. I did this course over sort of 2.5 months. Used to go every Tuesday, every Thursday type thing, and you put on a wee gig. And I did it, loved it, did my 10 minutes, and then I only did a handful of open mics after that. Just never went back into it.
Really?
Always that thing, I want to do it. Just, and it took me, that was the one big positive of when I told you I quit my job, sold my flat, and I was I'm going to go and do this comedy, and I started doing it again, and I loved it, you know what I mean? But what's mad is, like, there's people, there's like a girl, she's a friend of my cousin's, saw her on Instagram, but you'd love her because I think she does rapping, she's like, she's a musical artist named Sarah Callahan.
Right.
She's a really successful comedian, and I remember being at an open mic with her, doing the bill with her, and like, obviously that was 10 years ago. She's performing all around Australia, does the Comedy Store.
Right, brilliant.
Fucking hell, if I'd have just stuck at that could have been me. But no, I really enjoy doing it, because it now gives you a bit of a platform, or even just a voice to articulate all the things, your kind of observations on injustice of this, that and the other thing, or, you know what I mean? Like, I'm quite honest, so I think a lot of the stuff I can talk about is people go, that's fucking right, but I do
They
that
connect
as well.
with it, they connect with it.
Yes, and that's the funniest thing about comedy, when you go up there and you say something, they're like, that's fucking right.
You make people think as well as laugh, and that's what they say. I think it may have been Joe Rogan talked about it. I think it's like, when you start laughing, it's just about making people laugh. Then you get to a point, it's making the kind of like introspective jokes where you make people laugh, but they also think. You go fucking. It's like make people see something in a different way. It's using comedy as the kind of the bridge between somebody understanding something and being able to, oh wait a minute, that's fucking bang on. That's how
you can take a dark subject at times, like, you know, yourself, if you're talking to your mate and something's really heavy and really serious, you're like, fuck's sake, come on, and you can make a joke. You're actually, sometimes it's the only way to get across what you're trying to say, and actually bring that up. Do you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you've got a discussion going about it again. But if you know how that joke to kind of break the mood or lighten the moment, it allows you to take something, an extreme topic, and kind of start talking about it. And that's what I found I've quite enjoyed TikTok, because all of a sudden you're like, hey, can you maybe do that as a joke? And then all of a sudden you can do it as a character. It's like when you do your character sketches, you're like, well, I can be this horrible person, but it's an act. But that'll allow me to talk about this subject. How do I talk about this subject? Well, why don't I be the asshole? Do you know what I mean? And we can laugh at him. Whereas, so it's, you know, it's just trying to find the right mode or vehicle to talk about it.
Totally. See, you talk about you're doing your show Born in a Wheelchair, and that is basically what you're talking about there. It's looking back at yourself and how, like, growing up with a disabled brother has affected you, and it's been that kind of looking back kind of sense. See, do you feel as if this is going to act as a form of therapy? Was that the plan, to kind of way, as a way to channel these emotions and kind of stuff into something positive? Was that the kind of idea behind the show?
I think in some ways, yes. I tell you, probably for me, one of the biggest things is again, almost to kind of bridge that injustice that I've felt. So I think it's brilliant that there's a real drive for diversity, particularly in comedy, right? And to get people who have been marginalised traditionally over decades and longer than that, hundreds of years, so women, minority groups, disabled people, and I am none of those. So I'm a straight white male, right? But I also tick a diversity box that hasn't been drawn yet, because it's only I look back now I realise I've been at the front end of a lot of this discrimination. I've been like taking days off school, taking days off work, taking days off uni. I've experienced a lot of that. So for me, I thought, well, nobody's going to come to you and say, oh, can you tell us about your experience? You'll need to just get it out there yourself. So for me, it was kind of part therapeutic and part just, I've fucking carried all this about, and actually I just want to do it. I want to get it out there, and if I never do comedy again, I will have done this show. And that's the way that I'm kind of looking at it. Obviously I want to keep doing comedy, but I want to go, if I'm going to go to the Fringe, I want to do this material. I think it's going to be current. I think it's going to be, now's the time. Because I've got a lot. It wasn't until I was on somebody else's podcast. Again, the boy Kieran Burns, who does the All About Ability podcast. He's a wheelchair user himself. He's got cerebral palsy. He does the power football. He's a brilliant individual. And it was him that said to me, but you've experienced all that. He said, you should be, people should be asking you about it. Like, he said, there's people that are making decisions and, they're looking to tick boxes and all that. But that's diversity too. And I just kind of, first and foremost, like, I always talk about my brother, because like I remember being out on a date years ago, and it was an awful date. I couldn't remember the lassie's name and all that shit. I was like, and but she did say to me, she went, when you talk about your brother, your eyes light up. So I already do a lot of material about my brother, because it's funny. We've got some brilliant stuff to laugh about, and his personality, and just the kind of, all the different situations you face. So I thought, you know what, that's the time to do it at the Fringe. Somebody said to me, oh yes, they'll love that, because I'm probably ticking a box as well. So I'm doing it with Just the Tonic. I've probably ticked a box for them and think, yep, that's good, that's disability led, right? So maybe I'll get an opportunity that I wouldn't ordinarily have got out of it, you know what I mean? But I think for a therapeutic point of view, I think it will be good. I think I'll also need to go to some pretty vulnerable. I'll probably greet every day doing it, probably, I would imagine. I might have a wee greet every day. I'm fucking no shy of greeting. Love a greeting. Crying after watching that Elvis film the other night.
Oh really?
Big Elvis fan. Big
Emotional.
Elvis fan. The way he treated him. No, I was like, I had a beer now, and I was like,
get emotional.
I'm going to toast Elvis. I did.
Toast the king.
I did, and I put on That's the Way It Is, the documentary. It's like, just look him. So I think there's definitely an element of that, but also I actually really want to make people think, and there's a wee controversial take to it as well, because it's not wheelchair accessible. The guy said to me, does it need to be a wheelchair accessible room? And I went, no. Now somebody else has went, you can't do a show about disability and make it inaccessible for disabled people. I think, I know, but
So
that's
highlighting
that's
the
my story.
cause, isn't it?
But that largely everything we've ever done has been inaccessible to disability. So my plan is, I'm going to make sure that there will be either a performance one day of the Fringe or just after, where it will be. But that's what I want it to be, because I don't want disabled people to have to think about it. They think about it every day. I want people to come. I want them to come and think they're going to get a laugh, because they are going to get a laugh. But I want somebody to even go, fuck me, never thought about that. Never thought about that. Because I took my brother to a concert in Wales recently. First time I've not looked after Alexander for over 10 years. I mean, for any more than an hour at a time over the last 10 years, I've been up sitting with him with no care. So I'm totally out of kilter with his care sort of routine, what medication he gets, changing him, all these sort of things, right? And I took him down to this gig in Wales, and without being dramatic about it, travelling any length of time for somebody as vulnerable as my brother, somebody with the level of disability that has, is quite literally life or death. Because if the train gets cancelled and you're stuck at the side of stuck in a station, there's a guy who was in a wheelchair who only wanted to get from Glasgow to Falkirk, missed the last train. He didn't miss the last train, they cancelled the last train, so he was kicked off at Queen Street, and he literally sat in his wheelchair outside Queen Street station from 12 in the morning till 6 in the morning. ScotRail had been tried to phone for a couple of hours, different disability taxis, nobody could come, kind of during sort of, just coming out of lockdown. And I remember reading in the ScotRail thing, it said, we did everything we could. You feel like saying, well, just say you couldn't get a taxi. You didn't do everything you could, because everything that you could would have been somebody get out your bed, get down there and stand with that guy with blankets, hot drinks, an umbrella, and you fucking stay with him till we get this guy a taxi. But he didn't. If that happened to my brother, it would be life or death, right? So it's and if there's stories of people getting carried off by their pals because they've got no ramps at this station or that station. So, you know, even getting a flat tyre in the motorway, we kind of take Alexander out and stand at the side of the road. He's not got the circle, you know what I mean? So all of a sudden, these things become really, really fucking difficult. We took him to this gig in Wales. It was amazing, but even just getting him in and out the mobility vehicle, I've not done his fucking all the clips and all that. It can take 10, 20 minutes. And then I was looking at it, disabled spaces, and I'm like, right, well, doesn't he disabled? Fuck, we need to use the disabled spaces that's 500 yards away, but that means I'm going to have to push Alexander in his chair 500 yards, and it's freezing cold. What if it's raining? And he's got to stand there, or he's got to be stationary while I get the ramp down and get him all set. Stuff like getting wet is alright, but Alexander's as vulnerable as a newborn baby in that regard. You couldn't have a newborn baby in its carrier, you wouldn't just leave him out in the pouring rain for 5 minutes, would you?
No, of course.
People die. Do you get what I mean?
Aye.
So people don't realise, well, there's a disabled space along there, somebody can use that. I know, but the whole point is that's why it needs to be. So it's just things like that you recognise. I want people just to go, I didn't realise that. And also, the biggest thing I want anyone to realise is, and it's about being honest, disability is uncomfortable. Looking at a disabled person is uncomfortable. Now, I didn't know that because I've grown up with it, so it's not this. So when I see look at my brother, I see my brother. Why would I not? So I'm actually lucky in that regard because I'm like, that's fucking no problem with me. That's my brother. Whereas my girlfriend was honest enough to say, you know, not straight away, but she went, yeah, listen, when I first met your brother, like I felt really overwhelmed. I did not know where to look because she has never met anyone as disabled as my brother before. And I was like, fuck. So that's why most people, when they see someone profoundly disabled, whether it's in a wheelchair, whether they're dribbling, whether their tongue's sticking out, whether they've got spasmodic motions and they're like that, right? Most people are like, right, because I don't want to stare. Because we've not fucking taught anyone how to interact. We've not encouraged it. Whereas I always, if ever I see anyone, another wheelchair user, anyone that's disabled, I always go up to them. I was like, how you doing, my friend? What's happening? I have a crack with them. Even if they don't understand, because they'll understand something, they will sense your warmth, they will sense it's you, but we don't teach that. So most people go, I don't want to stare. Keep doing, alright, aye. And they'll ask the person that's with them, he's alright, aye. Because it's quite overwhelming. You need to have a bit of confidence to actually stop and go, how are you getting on? Alright, what are you up to today? That's it. So I always stop and chat to people because I know what a big difference that makes to my brother. So I always do it. Always. You know what I mean? As soon as I see someone in a wheelchair, someone's got cerebral, I always mate over and I'm like, how you doing, mate? He's up to the day. Are you his carer? Are you his mum? And I'll have a crack with him. And everyone's always like, fucking, because people need people to talk to one another.
Aye, of
so
course.
That's all I want, because don't be scared. Don't be scared.
Just it's that human interaction thing as well, because we
That's
all need
it.
it, no matter if anybody's disabled and that, they're still human at the end of the day. How do you think the attitudes are in terms of like maybe like in care, like in hospitals and that kind of stuff, to the fact your brother's disabled and that? Do you feel he's ever treated differently?
I think again it's just that fortunately we've managed to keep Alexander out of hospital for the large part, but he's been in hospital a couple of times. The care's been horrendous. We've been in a couple of hospital times. The care's been great. Again, it's unfortunately disability is so inconvenient. Because let's be honest, most people go, I fucking can't be bothered listening to something, right? I need a wheelchair space, right? Because it's annoying. It's not until someone in your family or in your close circle of friends is disabled, you go, I didn't realise it was like that. And I don't want anyone to have to experience that in order to go, right, I get what you're talking about now. So it's just that unfamiliarity that people have because they're not familiar with it, so they don't know how to. So I've grown up with people with special needs my whole life. My mum used to teach keep fit at the disabled centre in Alexander Wenty, you know, so we were always in there after hours. I would always get and see my brother, but you know, his mates would be in the house, you know, who all get broad spectrum of disabilities, and you know, for me it's very natural to kind of have lots of contact and conversation but it's confidence. It's not, you need to learn that. Confidence isn't something you're born with. You have to learn confidence. It's an act that you refine over time, and then you start to realise it's okay. This is what you do. You know what I mean? And you'll always get it wrong too. Do you know what I mean? Some people are different. Some parents are different. You know, like, you know, they want to shield their kids away because they don't want anyone to stare at them, to talk about them. Some people are different. You know what I mean? But I think we need to do a wee bit more of just broadening awareness, and that it's all right to say hello. And you know, I remember I came to the Partick tube station a couple of weeks ago, and there was a lassie, she's a wheelchair user, and I was up to, I think she didn't know where to go, and I was chatting to her, and I was like, how are you getting on? And she's like, oh, she I was like, how does she communicate? She went, oh, she can't. But I was still just, it's alright to, she grabbed her hand and went, how are you getting on? What are you up to today? I like your jacket, just having a bit of crack, and smiling and all that. Human beings will always understand something. They will always in my opinion, they will always understand something, whether it's touch, whether it's a smile. I think they'll understand something if you make that effort. But again, like I say, I'm no perfect. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that I want to talk about, and when I'm doing my show, is like, you know, because people go, oh, you know, there's always somebody worse, right? And there is, and I've got a living embodiment of that every day with my brother, and yet I still feel sorry for myself. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's and like, I've also used deplorable, unacceptable language. I've also used, right, the word spastic and mongo and retard, words that I think are unacceptable. But again, when I used them, I was either trying to fit in, I wasn't thinking, I was just, everybody else used them, and I don't think they're good words to use. If a disabled person came in, would you call them a spastic? No, right. So why is that a word to use to slag your pal? But it's not for me to tell everyone what to do. I'm not in charge. I wish I was, but I'm not in charge. All I can do is do my own bit, tell people why, and if they want to take it on, amazing. But like I say, I'm not perfect, because there's plenty of things that I get wrong about plenty of subjects. So I always think it's dead important. It's that kind of honesty. I don't ever want him to be watching and going, he's up there talking about no using this word. Now, I've heard him say this and I've heard him say that. Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, when I look back, fucking embarrassing behaviour, that. But as long as you're able to kind of try and learn from it and listen. And I think it goes to the same with I think people are all getting outraged now about the people's pronouns. I'm like, cool, just whatever name you want to be called from, that's fine. And if I get it wrong, I'm really sorry. But it's only respectful to try and address somebody by the name that they want to go by. People are all getting upset by Fisher them. I'm like, don't care, man.
It's just a fresh argument in fucking the life of humanity, innit? I think a lot takes to do with the fact I want to be called this. It's I think a lot of people, and I don't know, because people like to fan the flames with this stuff. See, for the large part, like transgender people or any type of people, they just want to be treated as equals, treated respectfully. But people fan the flames and go, no, they want us to fucking change the laws, change the way we speak. And it's maybe there's a minority that do that, but it's the way it's getting made out as if this is what trans people stand for. They want you to fucking change your ways and change your laws, and it's not really the case.
No, I think for me, the funniest thing that I've noticed on social media of late is that there's a few people giving it, like, again, mostly they're either football players or boxers, right? And I love boxing, I love football, and I love some of the people that I'm going to be talking about here. But they were posting pictures of Sam Smith giving it, look at the state of this, I need to protect my kids from this. I don't want to put in a Glasgow accent because the guy from Liverpool was doing it right, but I need to protect my kid for this. And I was like, need to protect your veins for what? What? A singer, a pop singer, you need to protect your kid. Unless he, she or them is coming around to babysit your wains, what do you need to protect your wains for? Turn the telly off. Right? And they're like, and someday I was on a TikTok live and we were talking about it, and I said, this is a bit pathetic. And they're like, no, that's disgraceful. Nobody should be getting urinated on in a pop video. And I was like, mate, there's pop videos where there's like aliens and dinosaurs and all that in it. Wait, it's right. People flying plate. Wait till is you alright? And just getting so angry. Everyone else like, I know it's ridiculous. And I'm just like, what I genuinely don't understand is, how is that threatening you? But what I see from it is external validation. The person that's using it as as currency, look at this, I'm protecting my wings for this, because they know that other people go, that's right, Davey, you tell them. You fucking tell them.
Aye.
It's fucking ridiculous, man, the Snowflake Brigade. Just, how about just being, it's like the thing about being woke. Being woke, just, to my mind, just means just try and be a bit nicer of a person, just be a bit more understanding. Cool, if you want to identify as a teapot, that's fine. I will do my very best to refer to you using the right pronouns. No problem at all. If slip of the tongue, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean that. Of course, no problem. I've done it a few times. I'm like, listen, Sam Smith, he's a great singer. I'm sorry, they're a great singer. That was really hard. That was fucking dreadful. Jesus, oh God, how can I go on in life?
Aye.
Easy.
Exactly.
So, but I think a lot of that is like you say. I think a lot of this comes from how unhappy people are, and we're not in a good state as an economy, as a society. I don't think we're in a good way. I think people are being left on their own. People have been left on their own to pay their heating bills. They've been left on their own to pay the additional fuel costs. They've been left on their own to pay the additional mortgage costs. The government, Westminster government in particular, have just went, fuckies.
Pretty much.
When you're unhappy, you start lashing out, and I can talk about that because I've just spent fucking half an hour talking about how unhappy I was. And that's what happens. When you are unhappy, you lash out more, and you start looking out at other things in the world that wind you up. And when we're all having our bad moments, that's when I start looking at things on Instagram, or comedians getting gigs that I'm not getting, or people on TV channels that I should, but fuck it. And you go, what is my girlfriend goes like, what's really wrong with you? What's happening? Are you annoyed about? And then you go, I'm getting annoyed about stuff now.
Aye, it's projection. It's classic. We were all guilty of it. We all do it, and it's just having that humility, kind of, when something does aggravate you that isn't really, like if you're really getting worked up about something, and to go, right, what is really annoying me? And it's looking inward, and I think a lot of people that not unable to do that, but a part of them is they can. It's hard. It's a really hard thing. It's ugly. You need to face yourself. But right, what am I contributing to this?
It's not comfortable, because you've got to look inside, and you've got to look at what's making you unhappy. Might be things beyond your control. You go, I don't want to fucking it's a pile of wash. I don't want to deal with that. I'll just fucking stack that up. You know what I mean, in the sink. And it's the same sort of thing. And like you say, people, the world's going mad. You know, and it is. I think that's a really good point. And then that's when people are starting to look for other people to agree with them, and then you go, it's mad, the woke brigade. I'm like, oh my God, fucking geese piece. But it just made me laugh that these guys were getting it, and he protect my kids for this, and I'm like, what's like that? And then who are the same people are going, Andrew Tate, that's the Matrix, what they want you to believe in. You're like, what, a guy in all the rape charges, coercive behaviour, manipulation, human trafficking. All right, fucking, maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe he's innocent. Cool. But I'd be more worried about that.
Aye.
I'd be more worried about my Wayne's watching all that stuff online. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like I read as well, a really tragic story about a guy who was targeting vulnerable teenagers, vulnerable adults, and he was bringing them up to his house in Stirling, and they were living life as a puppy under his control. He would meet them at the train station, put a dog collar around their neck, and he was physically and emotionally abusing them. And he's just, and I think he's awaiting sentencing. And you think, I'd be worried about that.
Aye.
I'd be worried about guys like that. Wouldn't I be worried about somebody that wants to be known as them?
Aye.
All right.
Aye. Who's a threat to your children? Exactly. Who's the bigger threat?
Aye. And listen, I'm not a parent, so I don't have the same level of concern, because obviously I can look after myself. So, you know, like I say, I'm not passing judgment on it, but just that kind of the whole the transgender thing and trans people, it's like you say, I think it's just at a time in society where it's that thing we spoke about in the first podcast. These are great distractions.
Totally, that's exactly what I think it is.
Ultimately, because somebody said, listen, trans people have been using single sex spaces for the last 10 years. It's nothing's changed, right? But it's a brilliant distraction from what's really going on. And that's funny, a lot of people are into conspiracy theories, right? How fucking conspiracy theories? The biggest conspiracy theories in front of you. Fucking the UK government, just focus on that. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a conspiracy. that's against every one of us. Energy companies, record profits, man, and we're all paying fortunes for heating bills. And I think that's the thing. It's really, when I think about my cousin who's got 2 kids, and just like their bills have gone up each month. I think on a total average of about, I think it's of about 700 or 800 quid a month. Their bills have gone up between their mortgage payments and their mortgage payments, because interest rates have gone up. So their mortgage payments, their energy, electricity and gas bills, and then the cost of diesel. So all of a sudden, if you think about what it would take in your life to get an extra £700 a month for your job, £700 a month, what is that? You've got to add tax on that, so times 10, 7 grand, so 11,400 quid. Then you've got to add because you'll be taxed to that. So that's like the equivalent of your boss giving you an extra 15 grand a year pay rise. Who's getting that?
No, nobody.
In the whole of the UK. That's what people should be focused on, really. But instead, migrants in boats, trans people, anything else that's the hot topic to fight over, and then just everyone's walking away with a bag stuffed full of cash. I think that's the big issue. You know what I mean?
And it's trying to highlight that to people, but as you say, it's all that projection, that kind of thing. People, they don't want to open their eyes up to really what's going on, because it does, as you said before in the last podcast, it makes people feel stupid, and they don't want to feel that way, that vulnerability, and like that I've been hoodwinked, and they'd rather focus on these things. It's like a shame parade. Everybody loves a shame parade, and that's kind of what it is. Look at Sam Smith, look at the state of him. Let's all hate him, and people even people that probably don't even really care that much about like the trans argument, but they want something to point at and go, fuck, I'm not doing that, and that means I'm better.
I think so. That's it. And like you say, it's just, I think that's where I enjoy comedy, because it gives you I don't know if it's the same with the singing and the rapping. It gives you an opportunity to talk about these things and maybe bring it into consciousness, to maybe try and get people to hold it to account. Because like you say, do you want to watch an hour-long laborious politics show, or do you want to watch an hour-long comedy show, or go to a gig? And so you want to do something enjoyable, and you might be able to get that message across. And I think for me, it really is. It's power to the people, and we need to understand that actually we've got, as a majority group, people have the power. It's not, I don't want it to sound like a very hippish movement, but that's the basic laws of economics. The market dictates the prices, not pricing dictating to the market. But at the moment, we've got producers dictating to us, because we are not acting as a homogenous single entity, where we're saying, I'm not fucking paying that, or not working 6 days a week. But that's what they do in France. They go on strike. Soon as this slightest ripple of discontent happens in France, they're like, fuck it, we're going on strike. We're on strike. You want us to work a Sunday? I don't think so, mate. Whereas in the UK, we're like, yes, I'll work a Sunday. I could maybe work a double shift on a Sunday. And that's what we are doing. We need to realise that actually no. And that's why fucking running out of fruit and veg. Because we've eradicated homegrown produce, we've eradicated supply chains, supermarkets are like, fuck it, we'll just charge what we want. Why would they not? There's no mechanism to stop them. So that's where I think if we can take back a bit of, not sound like a Brexit, take back control. But we need to actually take back that control from big suppliers and all these sort of things. Because like you say, see if everybody was happy. See if everybody got paid well. Like, you look at a lot of the Nordic countries, if everybody was on a think how happy everybody was during COVID. Because everybody was on $2,000 a month. Everyone was on $2,000 a month, no bills, or not the same way to spend your money. Everyone was a lot happier. If everybody had money and everybody had time off, you may be angry at everybody, but like you say, the less that you've got, the more angry you get, and that's when you start lashing out at everybody. You know what I mean?
Totally, man. Totally. That's the way it is, and that's the way humanity's always been, man. It's just trying to be aware of that, and as you say, it takes some self-reflection. See, looking back at your life, and because you listed a few circumstances, like Satanta going defunct, and then no getting accepted with Sky Sports and that, then the shopping channel going busting, going for like hitting rock bottom a good couple of times. See, looking back, would you change any of that for the where you are now?
It's funny, I I've always said no, I wouldn't change anything because it's brought me to where I am. And if you were to offer me the chance at changing all those things, but then, for example, not meeting my girlfriend, I'd say no, I wouldn't want to change it. So I think there's a lot of things, yes, I wish I hadn't done. I wish I hadn't gone outside for a punch up at a Christmas party. I wish that I could have just kept my head down and not been as disruptive, you know, on the shopping channels. There's always something I wish I would have done differently. But I'm quite happy. I'm a much happier place now than I've ever been. So I think I've always looked back and I wish I could have maybe done things, made different decisions. But I think the only thing I hope now is I'll hope that serves me well for the next time you come to that crossroad or that moment or two, you go, actually, you know what I'm going to do here? I don't need to, the world's not on me to say that's not right or that's not wrong. It's actually, you can still have your beliefs, but maybe just go, okay, I'm just going to take the job, no problem, I'll do that, and just up the road and think, fucking, you know what I mean? So I don't know, but I mean, I think I'm in a much better place now than I was at any point in my life, no matter how sort of happy I was with whatever job I was doing or where I was in the world. I think now's been as good a time as ever. But again, it's just that constant battle to make sure you're appreciative of it, because it's classic compare and despair. As soon as you look at something else or somebody else, you go, how have I not got that?
Aye, that's totally it, man. It's comparison is the thief of joy, as they say.
Aye, it's a good one, aye.
That's it, man. So, see, right now, because I think you seemed, I've only known you like the past year or two, but you seem dead settled in your skin and that, and as you say, a lot of the times before, you said you were unhappy in life and that, but right now, as you say, you've got your first solo show, then you've got a show where you're going to hopefully alleviate some of the kind of angst you've developed over the years, and plus as well, you're going to educate people at the same time, and because you seem like you're very well spoken, very articulate, and I can tell for your videos you post on TikTok and that, and the fact you want to become a college lecturer, that you want to educate people, you want to teach people in a way that's not been done before, and you kind of want to make that change, because you talk about the country and the state it's in, it isn't the right state, and I feel the kind of method, the approach you're wanting to take is, no, I want to take this for a different way, this is the way it should be happening, and that's how change happens, one small step at a time. So see, I always ask people, I talk about legacy, when I look back at my own life, when my life's over, hopefully I want to create something to be remembered by that will cause change in people, and the change will still occur even long after I've passed. If I was to put that question on to you, when all's said and done, would you want your legacy to reflect?
Well, I want to become heavyweight champion of the world, Tyson Fury. Get up there, my boy. That's a good question, because again, it makes you uncomfortable, because it's that I've got that working class insecurity. Legacy? What fucking legacy? What are you talking about? So it's funny, because that's how I answered it, because I was genuinely uncomfortable there,
right?
Because thinking people going like that, because worrying what other people are thinking. Fucking legacy. But it's a really, really good question. I would like to be known as a good person. I want people to go, you know what, when all's said and done, he was a good guy, and try to make a difference. That's it. I'm not looking for perfection, because I think that's then I would be caught out. You know what I mean? I always think if I was to ever get into politics, I'd need to go straight away. Here's all the things wrong with me, so you can't find them out later. Because otherwise, 'cause I think that's the falsehood that people get. They're like, oh no, I've done this, done that, and they're like, he cheated on his exams, stole a bus pass, done a pass back with a trans card and all that, right? Trans cards are what bus passes were called in the SPT days 20 years ago. Okay, so when you pulled a trans card, it was an actual bus pass. It wasn't anything to do with gender fluidity. Right? She used to do a pass back in the day.
You really started the next argument there.
I know. No, legacy. I would like to be a good person, and hopefully having made a difference. And I think for me, I kind of probably just think more short term. I would like to do this show, Born in a Wheelchair. I want it to be funny. I want people to think, and my plan is after the Fringe is I would like to do a one-off show of that in Glasgow, a big space, wheelchair accessible, get it filmed, and have that, so at least they can go, that's there forever. And that's talking about my brother, my life, and I hope that that's something people could get back to and go, it's a really good fucking, and that's it. It's just no more some of that. Obviously I've got dreams and aspirations. I would like to do big gigs. I'd like to be on the telly again. I'd like to be live at the Apollo. I'd like to do all these things, but I think for me, I just want to be a good person, and I just want people to go, actually, you know what, he's a decent big fella. That's it. That's all I really want. A wee bit of validation. People go, he's a good guy. And if I could get that show out there and make it successful, and by successful I mean funny and interesting, because that's the thing. There's even a fear. I know it ticks boxes for promoters or fringe programmers, born in a wheelchair, brilliant, diversity, disabled led, but also don't want it to put people off, because if you want to go the guy that's talking about my life with my penis or born in a wheelchair, guy talking about his dick in a wheelchair, get it? I don't want people to go, well, I don't fancy that. I fancy something just a bit more light-hearted. So I want it to be funny, and I want it to be known that it's going to be funny, and it's uplifting, not fucking, fucking a tearjerker where just you come out and you're like, yes, don't want to see. Make sure you see it on the last day of the Fringe, because you'll be fucking greeting.
Aye.
So I want it to be successful. So that's it for me. Have a successful Fringe run doing this show, because I think, as I said, if I never ever do comedy ever again, I'll be happy that I'll have done this show.
Okay.
And if anyone can do a wee plug now for...
Oh, and I was actually going to suggest you should do one.
Sorry for cutting your grass there.
No worries, do my job for me.
If anyone has managed to stick around to the end of this podcast, congratulations, you've made it. If anyone wants to come and see me, please do. I've got tickets available for my solo show, Gardener's World, which is Sunday the 2nd of April at McCool's on the High Street, 5 p.m. Tickets are available on the Glasgow Comedy Festival website. Just type in Gardener's World, or you can go on my TikTok, the profile page, hit the link tree for the old spicy link of Gardener's World, or through my Instagram, which is at comedyjames. And it just leaves me to say, thanks very much for another brilliant podcast. I enjoyed it, and I've got to say your questions were excellent.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I've been working my questions a bit more, because usually I would just ask bog standard questions and that, and I'm like that. And I started to realise I'd done Riley's gaff last night, and I was talking to him about it. Obviously they're on our podcast, and shout out Riley's gaff, give him a follow.
I think he is hilarious.
Oh, he's amazing.
My mate watches him out in the Philippines, so
right.
My mate Paul Fox. So listen, Riley's gaff, if you want to get me on, I'd fucking love to come.
Oh, definitely. There's another plug for you. But I was having that conversation with him, and you kind of realised in a podcast, like, all right, what are you trying to get out the podcast? What message you try to send? And you think more about, right, who's watching it, and it goes back to what you're saying. You're about to get more information about disabilities and that kind of stuff, and what it's been like living that kind of thing. My kind of focus is, right, the guest, what can I push that's some kind of inspiration, because did you write questions down? 'Cause I seen you check your iPad. Aye, I wrote questions
really
down.
Good, because what I was really impressed with is you would ask a question, explain it, contextualise it, and it would be quite big, and then you'd come back to the question. I've done a lot of podcasts, and most people start off with that question and then they forget, and they just go, what do you think? You know what I mean? So you actually kept coming back to your question. I thought it was excellent.
Nah, thank you.
That's the old producer in me.
I like that. It's good. It's good constructive feedback. I like it, man, because I don't very often get it, which is it's fair enough. No, I mean, people come on the podcast, they'll just hear the answering questions. I started doing that because usually I would just ask a question, but now I've started to try to contextualise it. See, like when I explained the legacy question, times I always thought in my head everybody knew what I meant, and I had somebody before ask me, what do you mean? And I'm like, right, you know what, that's maybe an active question in everybody's life until somebody's asked it. They go, oh right, I've not actually thought about that.
That's good. That's a key component. I don't know if we're finished, but that's a real key component of journalism. I'm not a journalist, but I worked obviously in broadcasting at Satanta, and I worked with a lot of journalists, and that's a key point and that's where a lot of podcasts become a bit shit, because you get somebody who just comes in and talks, and you're not getting any pushback, and you're not asking them to contextualise or explain their answer, so they're just coming in and they're going, oh well, just fucking, chopped his head off and then jumped down his throat, and it was all right. And nobody's going, right, do you not think that's a bad thing though? So you do need to actually sort of put a check mark and go, I'm going to explain what this means, and like you say, introduce people to it, because like you say, they might never know who this person is or that person is. So I think it was excellent, mate.
No, thank you, man. But I'm only as good as the guest I have on, and you've made this a smashing podcast, and you really educated me in the ways of you're talking about living life with Alex and that kind of stuff, and that was in Alexander, sorry, and living life like that, and it's opened my eyes to it as well. Obviously I had Sanjeev Man on last week or a few weeks ago,
saw him, yeah.
and he really opened my eyes to it as well, and having like yourself, and I'm like, ah, really fucking hell. And it was strange. See, I was asking about how like the attitudes of like in the hospitals because your brother's disabled. I had a pal, I've got a pal, Gas. He phoned me the other week and he was telling me his girlfriend's got a child that's got Down syndrome, and it turns out if you've got a child that's got Down syndrome, they're able to terminate the pregnancy up to 2 days before birth. And I looked it up, and actually that's the case for people with Down syndrome, people with a cleft palate, see the scar on the lip, and people with a club foot. And it was like that, the treatment he's received at the hands of like the care system has been fucking shocking, man. So that's when I realised, so it's really been opening my eyes to it, and I feel that's another avenue to go down. It's giving a voice to the voiceless. That's what I want to try and do.
I think what's a big thing, because somebody said to me, it was Kieran Burns again, the boy from All About Ability, he's a really nice guy, good podcast. He said to me, when disabled people make up the largest minority group in the world. The largest minority group in the world are the disabled people. They have the least amount of voice. And I think, for example, that is why it is still, I'm not trying to ruin MD's fun, but that is why it is still relatively socially acceptable to use the words that I've mentioned, because who's in uproar? You know what I mean? There are other words that you would not use with relations to people's race, nor should you, because you realise that society's not having that anymore, rightly so. But still alright in most films and most TV programmes for somebody to go, oh, shut up, you spaz. Alright, okay. If that word's okay, why don't you use it to a disabled person? Because it's not acceptable, is it? So, but it's because they have the least representation of voice. So you can only do your bit. So I'm going to try my bit. If you keep doing your bit, then the world will be a better place.
Hopefully we can make change for the better, man. But thank you again for gracing
Thanks
me
for having us, mate.
man.
Appreciate
it.
it.
An absolute pleasure, mate.
Thank you.
That's Jamesy Cottar, aka Gardener. Check him out. I'll attach his link in the bio. But thanks again for coming, my friend. A beautiful podcast, people. Like, subscribe, and don't get wide. Catches.